One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You like magic?
I love magic.
Not
So
like
do I.
Not like, pick a card, any
Pulling
card.
a rabbit out
no,
of a
no,
hat.
not that. Like,
no.
like magic that like transforms your atmosphere kind of magic.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
That's the dopest kind of magic there is, right?
Yep.
You know who does that kind of magic better than
Who?
anybody else? Electric Fish Lights.
What?
So what they do, they change your atmosphere with these custom lights.
Yes,
that
they do.
like you could tell them to build basically anything. Like if Karina called them, she was like, hey, can you guys build me a light shaped like a clam or an oyster? And they would be like, sure. And then you can get color changing upgrade bulbs in these things. You can get a bulb that changes colors and has a Bluetooth speaker in it. All these lights are made from upcycled vinyl. They come with a 12-foot cord, a 12-year energy efficient, safe to leave on bulb, a hardware kit to hang the light, and people at Electric Fish are throwing in 25% off for the No Simple Road family.
25% off? What are they
That's
going to
a
do
heck of a
for
discount.
that?
What do you got to do for that?
Yeah.
Okay, you stand on your right foot and you face north.
All right, hold on.
No.
Oh.
You just put in the promo code NSR when you check out. You're going to get 25% off, and they're going to send you Delaware Magic in your box.
What?
Yeah. Don't ask me what Delaware Magic is because I don't know. You got to order it to find out. So go to electricfishlights.com or at Electric Fish Lights on Instagram. Check out what's going on over there and get yourself some atmospheric magic, man. That's what it's all about. Change your atmosphere.
Our longest running sponsor, Shop Tour Bus, really hooked me up for the holidays.
They've got to be exhausted because they've been running a long time.
They are an amazing part of the No Simple Road community, and I am so glad that they're part of it. Check out what they're doing at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram and www.shoptourbus.com on the interwebs, and look at the merchandise and the beautiful. It's actually art. It's wearable art is what they're creating.
It is basically Grateful Dead song titles told in picture.
Yes. In beautiful picture form with these gorgeous fabrics. They're sustainable. They're family. They're doing something amazing.
And they're not just sending you a shirt in a bag.
No.
They are sending you a shirt in a box.
In a box. But
It's a special box.
in that box has all kinds of trinkets. It's beautifully woven in this cute little, ribbon. Twine.
Yeah. The word.
And once in a while, someone is going to get a magical bootleg thrown into that.
That is pretty dope. So go to shoptourbus.com and because you're part of the No Simple Road family, you're going to get free shipping. So make sure you put in the promo code No Simple Road, all one word. And hey, if you got a special message or something that you want to shout out when you order it, if you're ordering your merch as a gift for somebody, you can tell them in the notes, and then the inside of the box will be hand designed with whatever your note is. Like, happy birthday, Wilhelmina B.
Christmas.
Fudge.
I got one of those
Meister.
for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
go to shoptourbus.com, put in the promo code No Simple Road, get your free shipping, and support the No Simple Road family.
Define Premium Cannabis.
Premium cannabis.
It's another one of our
Dang.
fine sponsors that's been with the family here for a while.
Yeah,
Thank
they have.
goodness.
Thank you,
and
Define.
if you are one of those people that likes cannabis, like a lot of the country, and
Yes.
if
You
you're
a stoner?
yeah, if you're visiting up here in the Portland area, we have 2 locations to service you, one in Hillsboro and one in Forest Grove. Come on out and check what we have to offer. We love taking our time explaining the complicated, ever-changing cannabis world to every customer and getting you suited with the correct medication that you need.
Cannabis suit. That they don't have.
Yeah, get you suited. We can make one. If you bought enough weed, you can make a suit out of it. But
I've seen people have cannabis suits on.
That's true. Okay, I take it back.
And times are tough right now, and everybody needs to alleviate something.
Yeah, we
so
do.
come on out and visit us. Make sure to mention that you are a listener to No Simple
Why
Road.
would we do that?
Because then I'm gonna be like, right on. Sweet.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
Thanks.
we're gonna give you a 10% discount on your purchase, and we're gonna give you a free T-shirt the first time you come in.
Dang.
That T-shirt, when you wear it back, then you mention that you're a listener again. You get 10% plus a stackable 5% for 15% discount on your purchase. We're here to help you and guide you through the complicated cannabis world and get you suited to what is going to make you feel good.
Apple, did you
Yeah.
ever think in your wildest dreams that you would grow up to be a weed guide?
No, I did not.
You're a weed guide.
Yeah.
I'm a weed guide. So come on out. I will guide you through the weeds. Define Premium Cannabis.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. Yeah, it's, like I was saying, it's 2022, and it's weird. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing right now. It's
I don't know what you're doing
brand new
either.
year.
So
thanks, Apple. Thanks for the confidence boost.
well, I
man.
just try. I'm just on the same boat with you. I have no idea what you're doing.
Now we're in a boat.
Oh.
Hey, now,
Yep.
No Zipper Road family, we're back. It's 2022.
Hey,
it's
now.
our first episode of the new year.
Happy New Year!
We are stoked to have Karina Rykman joining us this week.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Karina.
I have to say that starting the year with Karina as our first guest, energetically speaking,
Is the
You-
best thing
it's
we could have
awesome.
ever done.
Yeah.
you
Yes.
couldn't it's like
Nailed it.
setting off a firecracker to start the year.
Absolutely. She is a bundle of fun, cuteness, talent, energy, and the list goes on from
Yeah,
there.
like I say, she's got that New York moxie.
Oh,
got-
yeah.
Like to the well done, Karina. This
Yeah.
was so enjoyable.
I mean, she does not stay in one place while in conversation or on the stage.
It's
She's-
very rare that I come across another human being that matches the Tigger energy that you have. Bouncy,
Yeah,
bouncy,
oh, yeah.
bouncy, bouncy.
I'll give her the win for this. I'll totally. If it was a match, she's got it. I mean,
And we learned a lot about Karina in this
Yeah.
interview. We learned about her love of baths, and
yes,
we got good stories and heard about her experiences in the pandemic.
it was an excellent conversation. Super fun. Love talking after the show. Love cheering her on Instagram. Love seeing her just all over the place. Oh, I'm gonna go to Red Rocks. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
For those of you that don't know, I mean, most of you know about Karina from Marco Benevento and his band, but Karina has her own solo thing going on, and it is super funky, awesome, psychedelic, badass, hard.
dancey,
Yeah.
fun.
And if you want, there's several amazing performances you can see the video of on YouTube. Go check them out.
I don't know why, like, that is not my go-to thing to do. You always remind me that you're like, dude, did you see this or that on YouTube? And I'm like, oh yeah, there's YouTube.
Yeah.
Always forget.
It's great because anybody can post to it. Everybody has their own side, and fans post everything and clip it up to full concerts. It's a great place to go
So
see music.
You were telling me that she's got a lot coming up this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
What's she got coming?
It looks like she's going to be hitting the road here in February. Wait, hold on. By the way, I'm looking at her site. She has a bunch of new merch out and
yeah,
everything.
she's got these cute little stickers with the clamshell.
And then the Cosmic Conch. Like
Mm.
there's like several things. Let me get back to
That was one thing
her.
we did not discuss with her was her love of shellfish.
I think she
I'm
might have
sad
just
that we didn't talk about that. What do we got? Apple?
Well, maybe she was just being shellfish.
Oh, a little shell.
About it.
Get it?
Ah.
Shell.
I floundered.
So it looks like starting in February 24th, kicking off in New York at Brooklyn Bowl, and then March 3rd all the way through March 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. She's going all over the place all through March,
Wow.
and then dates in April. I mean, I could name them all, but that
When's
takes a few
when's
minutes.
the
I'd
Red
go to her
Rocks?
site and check it out.
When's the Red Rocks date?
Well, wait, hold on. This is an important one I wanted to mention. March 18th, she will be at McMiniman's Crystal Ballroom
Oh, yeah.
with pigeons playing ping
that's
pong in
right.
Portland, Oregon.
I think
That's
I know
right.
3
At the-
people that'll be there for sure.
At the
Oh,
very end of the
definitely.
conversation, we realized that. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I was excited about that. I hope I can. That'd be fun to be there. But she's playing my birthday, May 26th, at Red Rocks Amphitheater. That ends her tour with the infamous String Dusters and the California Honey Drops.
Damn! Congratulations, Karina. That's
What a
gonna be
weekend that's
hell
gonna
of a
be.
hell of a March you got coming up.
Yeah.
And I think that the 3 of us will for sure be at. Oh, I know that the 3 of us will be at Crystal Ballroom to see you
Sure.
with pigeons. For
Sure will.
absolute positive, because I'm the one that buys the tickets. So I already got them. So we're going, and that's that.
Boom.
Put my foot down. So yeah, everybody, welcome to 2022 and No Simple Road and Karina Rykman and a
Happy
brand new year
year.
that we have filled with possibility and endless manifestation.
Prospero año.
Yeah, y felicidad. I don't know what that means, but
So, welcome to 2022.
yeah. And you
How
know,
are you, babe?
well, I'm good. we'll talk about it after the conversation with Karina. So let's get
then we'll get to
interview.
how Aaron's doing.
Yeah, not
remember,
you guys.
remember
it's
he
a
doesn't
teaser.
know what he's doing right now.
That's
We're
right.
going to come back to
And
It's
that.
we're
a
in a
teaser,
boat.
babe. You got to give them something.
I'm good. There.
Perfect.
We'll get to the we'll do the business, then we'll get to
So
the
as you can
interview.
all tell, we've gotten very serious in 2022.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's
Strict
my New
business.
Year's resolution is to not have fun this year and be as serious as possible.
Embrace your serious side.
Yeah, because I really have a serious side.
Well, you kind of do actually,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, you need to work on your monotone too.
Okay, I'll work on that after the interview. So remember, you guys, to stick around after the conversation with Karina and hang out with the three of us for a little while, and we'll catch you up on what we did on New Year's Eve and all the hijinks and whatnot that went down and where our heads are at going into the
Yeah.
new year. We're going to take you on a journey with us. But before we do that, we're going to do the business. Yeah,
You
do it.
Oh, follow us on all the social medias at No Simple Road on Instagram and www.nosimpleroad.com. And while you're there, you can click that merch tab and be like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I needed a new hoodie.
A
Boom.
podcast has merch? What?
We totally have a podcast and we totally have merch. And I want you guys to meet us at that merch counter digitally online and order yourself something cute. While you're doing that, you can head on over to patreon.com. So www.patreon.com/
No Simple Road.
No Simple Road. And while you're there, check out some of the stuff that we're doing. So for you become a $20 Patreon subscriber, I will personally send you a beautiful piece of art for doing that.
She says it offhand like that. I will send you a beautiful piece
Yeah,
of art.
It's not
It's
offhand.
not just a beautiful piece of art. This is like
It's a custom-made personal collage.
yeah. That
And-
like she goes through your social media, she stalks you online for a little while, and then
Figures it
She
out.
figures out what your personality
Well,
is
most of the
like.
time we know who these people are. I'll say a lot of the time we know who these people are.
But
so
when you haven't, you've
Yeah.
gone through and like gotten a sense of who this person is,
Yes.
Personalize it.
and then creates this amazing. It's not just art. This is like a totem, an energetic totem that you can hang in your house to bring you good vibes.
it's like my version of a woven blanket
or a tarot card.
or a tarot card or, just something very personal. Because, while I'm looking through these pictures, it's like a meditation too. I'm looking through the pictures and I mean, this is kind of off topic of what we're talking about. We're saying,
Patreon.
Patreon.
That's one of the benefits you get.
But yeah,
from
this is
Patreon.
one of the benefits. This is so anyway, Patreon. What else? Oh, while you're at it, you can call our tepid line. Apple.
971-808-1524.
Holy shit!
What,
971.
that number again is.
808 or 971-808-1524.
That's right. And what are they going to do when they call that?
So there's really no guidelines. We like to throw things out there for you to do to encourage you to go there. But I mean, we've said everything. Share the trip reports, from going to shows or whatever. Trip report from home, a recipe, a funny story about your dog or your bunny or whatever. It's basically it's like open mic night.
yeah.
You get to go on there. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. Caveat is
Yeah,
3 minutes.
Yeah, the caveat is 3 minutes, but that hasn't stopped some people. Have
Oh, yeah,
called back
you'll call
many
back.
times in a row
Mhm.
because it's longer than 3 minutes. But it's just your way of reaching out to us. We get to hear your voice. It's always fun.
Yeah,
We love reading
communicating
them
with the
back and
family.
playing them back. So call that at 971-808-1524.
Wow.
And if you want to hook the No Simple Road family up with some little bit of love in 2022, we need a good review for January. So if you could
Yes.
go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review, we would sincerely appreciate that. And let me back up a minute and go back to Patreon for a second.
Okay.
So
Beep,
for
beep.
those of you that don't know what Patreon is a website that allows followers, fans, and listeners of podcasts and other stuff to help support the creators of the content that they consume, listen to, like, whatever. So, like, we do No Simple Road every week, and, doing a podcast actually does cost money, believe it or not. And
time.
and our investment of time and all the back end stuff, the book, all of it. You guys understand what goes into it. So that's your way of giving a little bit back to us the time and energy that we put into creating the show for you guys. And it also keeps us able to continue doing more stuff. So when you sign up on Patreon, you can sign up for like $1, or you could sign up for 20 or 50 or 100, doesn't matter. That money goes to us every month, and it helps us continue to put out content for you guys. So if you're one of those people that regularly listens to No Simple Road, I'm just asking, man, you know, one person to another, that you consider hooking us up with $1 a month or something, because, you know, everything, it's so weird that prices for shit go up every year, which doesn't make sense. It's whatever, but they do. And this year's no exception. So we need some of you listeners to hook us up to help us keep going.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say about that.
Right on.
Did we cover everything?
Unless we
Tepid
have another
line
thing. We did the
reviews.
tepid line. We didn't get any reviews. And we just want to get them to the awesome interview with Karina.
All right. Hey, and also if you want more info on Karina and her tour, merch, and all that stuff, go to KarinaRykman.com and make sure to follow her on Instagram and social media platforms, and go on the music streaming services and check out her solo stuff. And we didn't mention it, but she is getting ready to put out an album here within the next few months. So keep on the lookout for that. And that's that. Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Karina Rykman.
Karina, what's happening?
How's it going, guys? How's it going? What is happening?
Welcome to No Simple Road, Karina. This has been a fantastic, exciting time for us. We love doing our homework.
Psyched.
Yeah, I love doing our homework. I'm Mel.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Apple. And thank you so
Mel,
much.
Aaron, and Apple.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. We put on one of Mel's favorite, well, everybody's favorites. We were just out listening to you doing First Tube from your July 10th backyard performance, because I know
Nice.
that one gets Mel fired. She's out there just bouncing all around.
It does. Thank you so much. I didn't realize today how much I needed a little pick-me-up. And we we always do a little research right before just so we can be fresh and kind of excited. And you made me bounce around, and it just, you don't know what that means to me. That's my tense outlet, my energy outlet. And so thank you for being such a badass on the bass. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I do what I can. I do what I can for the people. You know, it's great.
Can you tell the people who you are and what kind of fun stuff you're into?
Hi. I'm Karina Rykman. I'm into all kinds of fun stuff, baby. Let me tell you.
That's what we're here for.
I play the bass guitar. The electric bass guitar, and I'm maybe best known for playing with a man named Marco Benevento.
I may have heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard of him. He's great. He's a great guy. I played with him a big headlining show at the Brooklyn Bowl last night. It was a beautiful hometown throwdown, a great time. And I have my own band as well. It's just my namesake band, and it's Karina Rykman. And that features my dear friends Adam November on guitar and Chris Corsico on the drums, who I just practiced with in this very room. You can't see because this is a podcast, guys, because this is a podcast. But let me tell you, it's a great place to be. It's great. We, it's where we iron out all the kinks and try to, make all the good things happen.
Yeah.
And, go through many versions of rough things first,
So Karina, you just said you played last night at the Brooklyn Bowl, and that means that you're back out playing shows with everybody. So how did you enjoy coronavirus? Was it awesome? Like the whole quarantine? Did you enjoy that?
Oh, it was great. It was just great. No, I made the best of it for sure. And, most importantly, my people, for the most part, are well,
Good.
made it through largely unscathed, which is important. And, perhaps, the thing I'm most grateful for. So there was definitely that. And, my parents are older and I was concerned about them, but we're, knock on wood, we're all good. We're all healthy. We're alive.
Awesome.
I'm born and raised in Manhattan, and I've never lived anywhere but Manhattan my entire life, but right as the pandemic struck, my dear friend and roommate and, what do I call him? My platonic life partner, Isaac.
Yeah.
His family has a country house up in Rhinebeck, New York, which is like the Hudson Valley, 2 hours north of the city, over under. And we meaning him, Isaac, his girlfriend, his brother, my boyfriend, and me and his parents lived up there all together for 4.5 months. So that was, the longest I'd ever lived outside the city. And it was, I'm so grateful for that time we all had together, and we played a lot of music and, actually took it easy for the first time ever. It was kind of, a wild experience in that regard. We all cooked, we all cleaned, we all, looked out for one another, and went through many, ups and downs and all that. And we recorded these videos that now people like mentioned to me. They're like, oh, I remember the videos like with the drone from the pool house during, your quarantine stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And people are still, kind of, a year and a half later telling me that they dug those videos. So that was fun. So we were creative and it was cool and it was all good. But yeah, I felt very retired, which it's not really my vibe, guys. It was not really my guys. I was freshly 26 at the time. I've aged terribly since then. And
we all have. Don't worry about it.
Don't sweat it, man.
This is just how old we are now.
Oh, it's great. It's super great. So, just trying to, I did a lot though. I will say, like, I'm really not one to sit idly by. It's not really my style. I don't like free time. I like doing stuff and being out
Yeah.
there. And I was very lucky. I had a lot of people reach out to me for whatever reason. And I played a ton of backyard gigs just
Wow.
around, I did some in the Hamptons and Vermont and upstate and Jersey and, you name it. And it was, an amazing thing that people pulled together, and hosted my band. And so I stayed relatively busy, compared to most people, I would say. Not most people, but, maybe most people.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The pandemic was a trip, man. I mean, for all of us, it was a change of venue in a lot of ways, like you said. And I can't even imagine, like, I grew up on the West Coast. I've never been to New York City, but I can only imagine the energy of a city with that many people packed into it, and you living there your whole life. And then shit, we got to get out of Dodge and going to the country for, however many months. That had to be a real switch, like, energetically speaking. Did it take some getting used to be out there, like, where it was quiet and there was not that much vibration?
Oh, big time, big time. It's like the polar opposite of everything I'm into.
Right.
I'm not a rural gal, I gotta tell you. And it was very rural, and but of course, you make the best of it. And that was the least of my worries, was the fact that it was, a slower pace than I was used to. I was concerned about people dying and, what was going on, but certainly it took a lot of getting used to. And still, like, since then, since we've been back in the city, I kind of have developed, like, an aversion to the country.
Wow. Okay.
and not because I didn't have a great time. I did have a great time. And like, I did make the best of it. We had a beautiful experience all together, and I'll never trade it for the world. I'm so grateful they opened their doors up to us, which they did. It was incredible.
That's
for
dope.
all intents and purposes, really incredible. So it has nothing to do with the time I had, but just like the second I set foot back in the city, I was licking the sidewalk, I was just like, proverbially speaking.
I get you. So
who's to say?
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but when all this shit started, do I remember that you were getting ready to come out with an album? Is that wrong?
Well, great question. I'm working on the record now.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
And, like, have been withholding tunes for a minute here, trying to see, like, what shape this is going to take. And I sort of have the blessing and the problem of being inspired by too much music. And so, and my favorite band is Ween and Phish and, like, Beck. And I like people with these sort of wildly eclectic catalogs and ways of being, so, like, I'm having a bit of a hard time boiling down, like, okay, is my album this? Is my album this? Is my album this? Is my album that? You know what I mean? But in the end, I just am gonna fucking surrender to the Can I curse?
What?
Fuck.
How could you?
Yes.
Is this the BBC or
No, absolutely.
No.
This is the opposite of that. This
We
is
want you to be
NSR.
yourself.
Karina,
Cool.
this topic comes up a lot on the show, because when blending genres, okay, that was a way to, like, be like, okay, Karina Rykman is a gospel singer or a, trumpet, but like you said, Beck, Phish, like, how do you describe Ween? Like, you can't describe that. It's just music they feel like putting out. And
exactly.
Right. And so how do you categorize, or how do you think about that in your head when it comes to yourself? Like, are you free with it, or are you trying to categorize yourself?
I'm really trying to not categorize myself, which, but that's, again, like, my whole team and everybody, like, it just, sometimes I covet people who do one thing and do it really well, and I'm like, man, like, that's so simple. It's a simple life, and it's a simple sell, whether or not it sells, you know what I mean? And I'm not concerned about my shit selling. I don't care, but it's it's just about it being easier on people in terms of describing it and of understanding it and whatever. But I'm way past the point of giving a fuck about any of that. And
Right on.
as much as I'm troubled by it, I'm not constricted by it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, it plays me, but it doesn't really screw me up in
Doesn't
the
hold you
long,
back.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm just like, if those bands I just mentioned, like those are, maybe my 3 big inspirations, among 100,000 others,
Right.
which is the thing. So it's like, I just hope my Karina-ness will come through if like this track is really dancey, this track is rocking, this is the, you know what I mean? Like whatever it may be, like this is really synth heavy, this is overdriven guitars, this is that. But at the end of the day, like when I talk about it with like, my managers, my agents, like whoever, like, at the end of the day, it's not hummus and crackers music. You know what I mean? It's not adult contemporary music. This is somewhere between rock music and dance music. Okay. Like this is music for standing audiences. People get down to it. You know what I mean? Like it's not that. Far out.
You know what though, Karina, for me as a fan of yours, like when I go to listen to your album as a collection, I'm not talking like individual songs. I'm talking overarching, right? I want to hear what gets you off. I want to hear the stuff that you love. I want to hear the like you said, the true expression of who you are as an artist, the stuff that you dig, because I think that we share a lot of the same influences and inspiration. So if I'm a fan of somebody's,
right,
I want to see how that filters through them and then through their talent. Does that makes sense?
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, and I feel the same way for the people that I admire and the artists whose brains that I feel, connected to and in every which way, I want to hear what gets them off too. And, it's, I feel it's just my internal like worry about it being cohesive enough for the average person, but also who cares?
Fuck
like
yeah.
it's okay, like.
So if we're going to a Karina, if you're like, hey, do you want to go to a Karina Rykman show tonight? And I'm like, yeah, what kind of music is it? Boom, go.
It's music.
Boom. It's, again, it's somewhere between rock
Should I
music
wear my
and
dance shoes
music.
or my boots? Like, what am I going to be doing?
You're God willing going to be dancing, but at moments you're going to be, so drenched in psychedelia, you won't even know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You are definitely going to be dancing, but it's going to be psychedelic. It's going to be tripped out. It's going to be weird. It's going to be not weird. It's going to be, indie pop, psychedelic dance music. And it's going to be overdriven rock music. And it's going to be, sometimes I'm going to be doing like David Byrne-esque like talking vocals, and other times I'm gonna pretend I'm Donna Summer, and it's gonna be great, like.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like we need to get you to play a show here in Portland.
Well, aren't you doing that? What, are you in Pigeons, right? Are you?
Oh yeah, where are you guys?
In
Portland, Oregon.
Oh fuck yeah, I'm playing the place that everybody loves, the
Crystal
Ballroom.
Ballroom.
Yeah, it's
I'm playing the thing, the place, the guy. It's fucking awesome, Karina. That room is so awesome. The floor is on rollers and it bounces.
I'm ready to bounce like there's no tomorrow. I'm really ready.
I was gonna say you are bouncy. I was gonna say too with your sound, no, but your Karina-ness comes through, and like you're one of those. Any of like in one note, we know it's you.
Yeah,
and that
Thank
bouncy.
you.
We've seen you several times, and just you remind me of Mel. Like Mel was saying, she never stands still. She's like always bouncing, and I don't think I've ever seen you like not, except for right now. This is probably one of the few times I've seen you not. There we go. But it just comes through. You have such a unique sound. It's just amazing when you're slaying that big bass. It's
I
awesome.
appreciate that. Thank you. Well, I hope, I one can only hope that my Karina-ness will come through, that's all you can hope for. And
what was it last night? Last night we were sitting out on the patio, all watching. You just recently did the Relics one with John on drums and everything. And like when you just said that psychedelia, oh my God, that got very psychedelic. That whole set, we were just sitting out there like, holy shit, this is badass.
yeah.
Aw, thanks for watching that. That was so fun.
Well, I mean, think about this. We're a live music podcast, right? Just like you're a musician, like our job is to go to concerts basically at this point. And
Sure.
and it all stops. And we're like, how the fuck do we continue on? Right. And we figured out what we were going to do, and we did our thing through all that. And then it comes back, and it's like this onslaught of everybody's creativity is pouring out from all this time they spent in the woodshed for the past 18 months. Right. So
Right.
all this stuff that's out now is like the newest, coolest, best shit ever that we've been hungry for the past 18 months. So of course we're fucking watching it. You know what I mean? Like that's the fruit of all the pain that we went through, that stuff. And it's the best.
True. It's definitely true. And there were many, you know, I'm super lucky to, you know, there were a lot of outlets for me, you know, and especially when things were in like the in-between phase, which I guess they still are, but they feel way more cooked than they did then. You know what I mean? Like that, you know, doing those relic sessions, which, you know, I did the first one that they ever did, like literally just to test the system.
Oh, wow.
With my band. They had me in there, and we're all wearing N95 masks, and it was very like, you know, on pins and needles. I feel like it was in like February of this year. It was very like, you know, I don't know what things were like in Portland, Oregon at that
No, they were
time. But here,
yeah.
It was
yeah,
the same.
it was rough. It was rough here. Like, you know, people were still like, I don't know, is this cool? Are we good? You know, but I did that one, and then I did the one with Johnny Kimmock on the drums, and Marlo Shankweiler from the band Melt on other guitar, which I was, you know, wanted to do something, you know, fun and different, and that was a great session. And yeah, I don't know. I made a music video around that time. Marlo's fantastic. She's one of my dear friends, and she is the girlfriend of Isaac, who is my roommate. So we were quarantined together. That's why we were all quarantined together.
Right
and
on.
One of my very dear friends and phenomenally talented guitar player.
Hey, Karina, speaking of talented guitar players, can you tell me about Adam a little bit? Because
oh yeah,
I mean, what the fuck? Like
he's amazing, and there's not much to research on him.
Yeah, where did he come from?
Dude, I found him.
Yeah,
he was underneath a Shoney's. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, Adam is you know, one of the greatest gifts in my life. Aww. And in everybody, you know, if you only knew him, he's one of the greatest, most pleasant people to be around, and he's a genius. He's a literal genius. Yes. So he, you know, not only is he a phenomenally talented technical guitar player, but he's also like a genius in terms of he can hack anything, he can build anything. He knows how to do Arduino and like, you know, do like different wirings on shit. And like, I'm doing a horrible job explaining what he does, but he like, you know, has his downstairs pedal board rig and then an upstairs pedal board rig, and they both speak to each other. And he's wired it so that he has like 3 or 4 DL4s, which are loopers, and they communicate with each other. He's a genius. He's a literal, he's a tech genius. And, you know, him and Chris, my drummer, they went to NYU Music Tech together. And Zach Rosenberg, shout out to Zach, who's our
shout out Zach,
our sound engineer. He went to Music Tech too. So I basically picked out my 3 young geniuses from NYU Music Tech, who are, you know, they're the squad. And today, if you'd only seen, like, we were, you know, I'm now working on being on in-ears, and we're doing all this Ableton live tracking crazy shit going on where like the vocal follows the Ableton session. So like if at 1:15 into the session, my vocal splits off into like 17 different crazy reverbed out things, like it does that in real time. You know what I mean? It's next level. I could never figure this out myself, but they programmed it all for me. And shout out to my dear friend, producer, co-collaborator, Mr. Gabe Simon, aka Gabe Monroe. He is Gabe Monroe.
Okay.
But I know him as Gabe Simon. That's his birth name.
Okay.
And he was like, you know, the SEO on Gabe Simon is not so good. So he you know, he uses his middle name. I forget, you know, I'm outing him. It's terrible. Gabe Monroe is wonderful.
We're sorry, Gabe.
And, you know, I know. Sorry, Gabe. Oh, he's so great. He's the greatest dude ever. And he and I have written basically all my songs together. We wrote Plants together. We wrote Elevator together. We wrote No Occasion together. We wrote Arbitrary together. And now he's like my main guy. Like, you know, I go to him and we're carving out this album together, basically.
But again, how are you meeting these gems? They just kind of fall on your Karina lap, or you're like walking, like, you
when
know.
she licks the sidewalk, they show up.
When you lick the sidewalk, the
Good
world
things happen, right?
Let me tell you. If you're licking subway poles, good things are bound to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's great.
Speaking of oysters, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's only up from there.
Gabe and I went to high school together, and
okay.
we were in the jazz band together, and we went to the same sort of after school rock music program, which was called Tomatoes House of Rock, which was an offshoot of the School of Rock, run by a man named Tomato.
I was gonna say, I bet his name is Tomato.
So this
His
thing,
name
the
was
music
Tomato.
bug bit you young then.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. And once it bit me, it you know, made sure to never let go. You know what I mean? But yeah, it bit me before the age of 12, but 12 was when I started playing guitar. And that's when I started hearing everything with different ears and became completely transfixed by playing, you know?
Do you have a first memory of like the moment when you knew that you were going to be a musician, like practicing guitar in your room or like listening to whatever album or?
Well, I have a convoluted answer to this question.
Cool. I love that.
Can't wait to tell you. Which is that as much as I just said, like, you know, the music bug bit me and it never let go. I think I was a little too realistic back at, you know, the earlier moments of my life, even though, yes, I spent hours playing, hours going I would go and see as much music as possible, and I would play as much music as possible. And I knew that in my life I would work in music, but I sort of, you know, at a certain point, I just thought I would be someone who worked in the music business, because, you know, as much as I played in 5 bands going nowhere at a certain point, you know, it didn't seem like there was a clear path forward for me until I was 22, and that's when I got the call to be in Marco's band. So it wasn't until then that I had any sort of assurance that I knew I would play recreationally for the rest of my life. But did I think that this is all I do now? Like I'm ready to die on this hill. You know what I mean? Like this is it. This is it for me now, just because, you know, circumstantially, like, you know, I'm not like a woo-woo person, but man, like, you know, the universe showed me this is what I have to do, you know, and it's by, you know, playing in a million bands. And then the Marco thing just brought in a whole new echelon of stuff, you know, and you know, it's not lost on me that nobody would know who I am or care who I am if it wasn't for Marco. It's all Marco, you know, and that comes by way of Dave Dreiwitz from Ween and J-Rad. And he's the one who put me up to the task, you know? So as much as, you know, there were many moments in my life where I was like, music is everything. Music is everything. And I still, day to day, I look at the people around me. I would know nobody if it wasn't for music. I would know a bunch of spoiled fucking Upper West Side private school shitheads if it wasn't for music. Music brought me.
Wow.
And I love them all. But you know,
of course.
Yeah, no, I feel
that's
you.
the New Yorker in you. You keep it real. It's like,
you know, what are you gonna say? What do you?
It's
But
the
like,
truth.
really, like, you know, music in, you know, my friends that I met through music in high school and in towards the end of middle school brought me to a place that I wasn't connecting with people the same way. You know what I mean? And I wasn't like this sort of common interest in music. And us all being like, this is what we do. We go see music, we play music. We see music, we play music. Like, that's all I ever wanted, was to be surrounded by people who felt the same way, you know?
Me too.
And look, that's what it is. It's what you know, you guys have a whole podcast dedicated to it. And, you know, like you say, there is no simple road. And it's like, it's taken a lot of twists and turns, and it's been crazy. And like, I remember being like, sort of like, you know, the people I was surrounded with in high school, like, of course I have friends who aren't music people, but like the people I've held on to, each one of them, it's music is the common thing. So like, you know, I have that to thank for my entire existence being what it is, you know, which is, I'm so grateful every day I wake up, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a moment, I think, for all of us that are following what you're passionate about, when shit gets real and like you realize that you're given a seat at the table, and now what are you going to do with it, kind of thing. And that's fucking scary. I don't know about you, but that's a trip when you realize that you have your shot and your opportunity, and it's in front of you, and it's like, oh fuck, I got to do this now. Like, I always wanted to do this, but now somebody's asking me to. What do I do? You talk about like nobody would know me if it wasn't for Marco. I beg to differ, but that is how we found out about you, is seeing you play here with Marco. And when that opportunity arose for you, were you scared shitless, or were you like, fuck it, I'm ready?
It was a crazy time in my life. I was, like I said, I was 22. It was my last semester at NYU. Mm-hmm. So I was, literally putting together a thesis defense, and I was the GM of a company called Rocks Off, a concert promotion company here in New York that puts in, shows in clubs and everything, but also like the flagship event is the concert cruise that go, literally you put a band on a boat, it goes around Manhattan for 3 hours and it comes back. And I was really large and in charge doing that. So, you picture these different threads that I was sort of carrying through and whatnot. And then the Marco thing. And of course I was scared shitless, but in a way, a very like sort of, in a tranquil way, if that makes sense. It was like this sort of like, oh my God, like I was really concerned about doing Dave justice, because it was all Dreiwitz that put me there. Marco had never heard me play a note before, not one note, nothing. And I had no rehearsal, there was one rehearsal a month before the gigs, and that was it. And then I was like, so I got to keep this in my head for a month, and whatever, like, which I did. And like, it was just, and I agree with you, like those moments where you're like, oh shit, like I got to rise to a really big occasion here. Like, what do you do with that? And how do you cope, and how do you process? And, don't get me wrong. Like I was nervous. I was nervous as shit. I remember the morning of that rehearsal, the first rehearsal, the only rehearsal a month before the first gig, I definitely was throwing up and just like a ball of nerves, sweating, shedding, like, on the couch in the living room, like, with the bass amp and like headphones, and just being like, I got this, like, and being on the amp track, like shaking, going up to Woodstock to rehearse. I was nervous as shit. Oh my God. No doubt about it. But then Marco has this way of making you feel really, really good. Mm-hmm. And he makes everybody feel that way. But, especially as a band leader, he is the most like, oh, you got it, like guy, you know what I mean? There's no nitpicking, maybe, if I do something fucked up, he tells me, you know what I mean? It's not like whatever, but he's really, really an amazing band leader. Just in terms of like how comfortable he makes you. And so after that, like, look, I was still nervous, like until those gigs, like, played out, I was super, super nervous, but I was lucky to be, in his hands and not somebody else's who could have made, so for that was one level of nerves and whatnot. But now, I don't know, it's sort of, with my solo stuff, it almost feels more nerve-wracking in a lot of ways, because it's sort of like, okay, like, wow, shit. Like I never really knew that it would be like this. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't know
that you would be like fronting it, or
I don't know. Like I didn't grow up writing songs, I really didn't. And my band started as this, like, just people being like, come on, Karina, do something for this event, like do something, and I called Adam November and Chris Corsico, and we improvised for 90 minutes and everybody loved it. So for the first year, we would improvise at every show. And I don't mean like, song, improv section, end song. No, I mean like you get on stage and from note one, you're making shit up. You're making it up for the entire time, And then like, I couldn't believe how quickly like that and not how quickly. I didn't expect it to gain any traction, quote unquote, you know what I mean? But people dug it, and people were like, yo, you know, and booking me shows. And we were playing, like, you know, and selling tickets and all this stuff. And like, and I was like, oh shit, guys, like, this is kind of happening, you know? And then I was like, oh shit, I think we should write some songs, you know, like songs, bands have songs.
Those things that bands play. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, you know, that all sort of rolled out and started happening. And I was just like, oh shit. And then, you know, I got the gig opening for Krungbin, one of my favorite bands, at the Capitol Theater in June 2019. And got that gig without having a single piece of recorded music out. You know, it's just like,
wow.
And then
that's
my first
amazing.
song, it's unbelievable. But like, you know, like it's all unbelievable. And I was just like, wow, you know, like there's so much goodwill here, you know, of kind people thinking that if they come to my show, like they're gonna have a good time, and they don't even know why. You know what I mean? Like maybe they've seen me play with Marco and they're like, cool, she plays bass and she's fun or something, and like whatever. But like I was just like, oh my God, like now I feel like this sort of like pressure to do something with it, and, you know, give people songs and give people moments and all this stuff, just because it just unfurled itself before my eyes, you know what I mean? And with very little push from me in that way, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, like, yeah. I'll do that. You know what I mean? You know how life goes. It's like, I mean, for me, it's like one gig at a time. And then the next thing, it's just like one thing leads to one thing and one thing leads to the next. Then you meet this guy, you meet that guy, you meet this guy. But life for me is just a series of gigs, man. It's crazy, you know?
We were just saying kind of the same shit a little while ago. I was telling Mel yesterday, like, I don't know. I'm more of a woo person, and I have like, I don't know. I listen to my intuition, and I told Mel yesterday, I was like, you know, I feel like 2022 is it, like there's something waiting for us in 2022. Like something's coming. I said, I don't know what it is. I don't pretend to know what it is, but there's something brewing, and we don't know where it's coming from. It could be anything. Nobody knows it. It's like you said, it's one thing kind of leads to the next thing, and somebody hears about you and then tells this guy, and that guy knows, you know what I mean? This 6 degrees of separation, and all of a sudden shit's happening around you that you hadn't even planned on.
You couldn't have even orchestrated it as perfectly as it's unfolding if you wanted to.
Right.
Like these perfect connections, Marco and Dave and Gabe and all of this swirl, you could have never imagined it. And there is woo in that, and there's also diligence in that. And that's, I feel like, what you really are. A lot of your luck is also because you're willing to put the work in. You can see that you're diligent too. That's a huge part of the other side of woo that doesn't get enough attention too, like practicing and like making it your life, and, you know, setting other things aside. You said your whole life is a gig. Well, then that means you don't have a ton of, like, you're not going on 20 million vacations, but your life is a vacation, so you don't need to do that. It sounds like you just kind of flipped the whole script, and I'm freaking proud of you. That's an awesome thing to do.
Thanks, dude. Thank you.
Hell yeah. You know, I'm a fan of you. Your music's awesome too, but like, I'm a fan of you and how you're living. Like, that's very inspirational and really on time for right now, for these days.
Thanks. Yeah. No, and I definitely, I show up, you know what I mean? Like, if there's a thing, like I'm there, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I don't know. That sounds
stupid,
right.
I know what you're saying.
You're like 100% there. Yeah.
Yeah. Where a lot of people are like, oh.
You didn't just like stroll in. Like, you're there. Your sneakers are on.
Well, you can tell one of the things you do that I love, and we're just we it brings laughter to us when we're watching you play, is your banter in between the songs. It's so funny, and you can tell. I mean, you probably do. It seems like half the time you don't know what you're going to say, and you say some silly things. You're having so much fun, and then it's back into the fucking groove.
Well, and that was the thing I said to Apple last night when we were watching you play. I was like, there is somebody nobody can accuse her of not having a good time. Like,
yeah.
Karina is fucking having fun.
One thing.
Yeah.
if there's one thing
You're
that I
not
know
guilty
how
of
to
that.
do, it's have a good time.
She
That's
uses her
you
time
know.
for fun.
But if I just hope that my having a good time makes other people have a good time. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think it does, and people tell me that it does. So
It's
like,
contagious for
I
sure.
sometimes I like feel a little not guilty, but like a little like, oh, Karina, you're just like you enjoy this so fucking much. Like you love this
Mhm.
so much. And like some people don't enjoy a damn fucking thing in their
Oh
life.
my
You know what I mean?
gosh. Yes, I know what you mean. And they have good
Oh.
shit too. Good stuff to be
Oh.
enjoyed, and you're still not enjoying it. What is wrong with you?
Blowing it.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's just like, oh shit. Like I just, I don't know, like for whatever we're talking about here, like, me having put one foot in front of the other and ended up, at this very place, whatever that may be, which I consider this like just like a primitive, not primitive, but like, early form of what I'm going to be and what I'm going to do.
Oh,
Like we're
yeah.
at the fucking, just the genesis of like creating myself through music. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. You
that's how I
you
feel-
haven't
that's
hit
how I
30
feel
yet,
about it.
right?
No.
27.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, you're
And-
doing
So-
all of this, and you're not even 30.
And wasn't your
Oh,
birthday
yeah.
just a couple of days ago?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
But now I'm thank you. It feels great. But all of that, said, I just feel, I want to, spread joy through me having all this joy inside. Like, for the
Yes.
record, it's not an act. It's really who I am. It's like really, I've been so extremely blessed in every regard, and I can say that. And it's just what it is. It's just who I am. It's just
Yeah.
my, you know what I mean? And then all this music that is pouring out of me, it's joyful. Like
Yes,
even
it
if it's
is.
heavy, it's joyful. You know what I mean? Like even if it's distorted, it's joyful. Like, and I hope other people get that out of it, because I really feel that way. Like sometimes I'm just like, damn, I am so stoked. God, like,
You know what's
Yeah.
and I hope
awesome?
people feel something from that. What's that?
Well, I was going to say, you said, I hope people feel something from that. What's awesome about the show and interviews and conversations like this is that they do get that, like you explaining that and then pairing it with the music. This is like a whole with a WH, holistic approach of giving people these new artists that they may or may not have ever heard of.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Well-
in regards to like the show and coming on to the show, you're sitting here spilling your joy verbally, and then they go back and, I'm going to listen to her stuff. I'm going to go research, and it puts a bigger picture together. And that's what is amazing.
well, that's what it did for us. Like we would talk to artists and then go see them play, and it was like, that person. So the music, it changes the experience of seeing the music. And not for nothing too. Like I've been going to shows since the late 80s. I just turned 50.
Oh, you look amazing.
Thank
Get
you.
out of here.
Yeah. And
Get
thank you
out.
very much.
Couple days before your birthday.
Yeah, actually. And
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's from going to shows for this long and like loving music the way that you do. It's like it's my life. But at this point, like I feel like I have an eye for it. Like I could see what you're talking about like the Genesis thing. And that's why I wanted to talk to you now. I don't want to talk to you in fucking 10 years when you've headlined MSG. I don't want to, of course I do, but I want to have talked to you now because the Genesis is the cool part. It's when it hasn't fully formed yet and it's raw and it's as real as it's ever going to be. And it's visceral. You
Almost at the moment of
touch
happening.
it. And that's what I love. Like I want to get to know that person before that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
so that I can take the ride with you and feel it happen alongside you through the music. If
That's so cool,
if that
man.
makes any
That's so
kind of
cool.
sense.
No, that's so great. I love that. And it's you couldn't have got me at a better time.
Yeah,
Because these are, I was saying, because I've been grappling with, when I say I'm super fucking joyful, that doesn't mean I'm not like, I'm a I'm a real person who like has plenty of fucking, hang-ups and I'm anxietized by this and nervous about this and put so much undue pressure on myself all the time, which is not helpful, and whatever. But I've definitely been hung up by the fact that, these last like 3 months, I want to say, like I got off, if I had wanted to be like, I could have opened for Andy Frasco for the last, month and a half, and I would have been gone the whole time. And I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And I like, saying no to gigs and stuff so that I can focus and write, which in my head is the most important thing right now. And I think it's not only in my head, I think it's on paper that this is the most important thing, is that I need to write and work on this record and nitpick and write more than I need so that I can whittle it down and have just the best stuff, or the stuff that I like the most, rise to the surface and stuff. But in so doing, and not running around like a chicken with its head cut off, or being the hamster on the wheel or whatever, the sort of stillness is tough for me, because I love, like we said, and it all comes back to the city energy and all that stuff. Like I have a hard time sitting still, and when I'm with Gabe or when I'm with like my band and stuff, like I can work on something with somebody for a long time. I can sit still and quietly and focus. I'm not ADD in that way, but if I'm on my own, I'm like, I got to go for a walk before I sit down and like get down to it, or like, I got to run this errand. I got to go here. I got to go here. I got to see this person, whatever. Like I get very, and it's not even distracted, but I don't know. I think it's just a unending, need for like some sort of human collaboration and connection and whatever it is. Like I'm good with collaborators, but I'm hard by myself, and I need to get better at that. And it's been difficult this last little period, sort of reconciling that, because I'm with Gabe like maybe 3 days a week, which is fucking amazing. But it's in the times where I'm not, and I'm like, and I'm not gigging and I'm not doing this. And those are the moments where I need to do, like, I call it self-study, you know what I mean? Where I need to like write lyrics by myself and try out vocal melodies by myself and all the shit that I would never do in front of anybody. I mean, I would, but I'm not going to, it's those moments where I'm like, come on, Karina, like, you got to buckle down on this shit. It's important. And like, I can sort of sometimes be like, I'll do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like I need to run around and do 12 interviews and, have a photo shoot and get oysters with this person and like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so those moments are interesting. And I don't know, I'm just talking about like the in-between period here, the quiet moments. What do you do in the quiet moments? You know what I mean? Where I constructed these to be quiet moments. Do you know what I mean? And I have to remember that. I'm like, Karina, if you had wanted to, like, you could be touring this entire time, but like, that's not
you set this
what
up.
you need to do right now. I did
Yeah.
this. Yeah. So anyway, that's just, it's my internal dilemma right here, but it's not a dilemma. It's not a dilemma.
And that's what I was
It's your
talking about.
internal happening. That's what's going on. You sat there and you forced yourself to be your own artist. You already said, I'm amazing at collaborating. Once you put me with somebody, I know what to do. But you put yourself with yourself. So you're collaborating with yourself. And maybe if you see it from that perspective, when those times where it gets hard, it's like, okay, no, me and Karina are doing something right now. So she's going to hit this vocal. I'm going to do this track. And that's how we're going to go about it. Like, switch up the perspective, but you're still getting your work done.
And that's what I meant
I
about
like that.
You set the shit up and then it's like, now I have to do it. And that's the hard part. And also, I don't know how much stock you put in astrology, but Sagittarians are fucking weird people, man. We're weirdo.
Right,
we are total fucking weirdos. And if there isn't a million fucking things going on, I am not a happy camper at all. Like
is that a virtue of Sagittarius?
I think,
because I feel that. I feel it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
the virtue of the Sagittarian is with the arrow. That's all, the arrow's in motion, and so that's why travel and movement and, quickness and, things like ADD or anxiety is much easier because you're on that go motion. There's nothing wrong with that, because then that creates so much more momentum and that helps with motivation. And that's like these amazing ideas. But like, everything needs its yin to its yang. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a balance. Even if you're extreme, then you're going to be probably an extreme depressed person at times. You know what I mean? Like some balance has to happen. And it sounds like you're creating this equal balance of good, quiet, alone time instead of like isolation. You know what I'm saying? Like you're giving yourself this time to like develop yourself as a solo artist in your own, for yourself.
So you can figure out what it
Sure.
means. Yeah.
But I feel, yeah, exactly. And that's very interesting when it comes to the arrow and the momentum and the movement. Like, cause that's, you know, it's me to a T. It's really, that's some shit. And yeah, that's awesome. But to me, like, you know, I envy sometimes, like, you know, those artists, those writers, those people who are just like, oh, I'm going to lock the door, shut off the world, and boom.
Next
like
album
my
done.
opus, you know what I mean? And whatever. And I just like, I'm starting to learn that like, you know, you sort of, you learn about yourself in doing these things. And like, as much as I can work alone, don't get me wrong, but like, I need Gabe there. I need my band there. I need people to bounce ideas off and be like, is this riff dope enough? Yes, it's dope enough. You know what I mean? Do we like this chord voicing? Yes, we like this chord voicing. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that where, I mean, which maybe will change with age and stage and whatever, but it's just, it's interesting what you learn about yourself and like how you work best and how the stuff gets made and all that. And, you know, just carving away at it. And of course, judging it incessantly when you're like, you know, what you really shouldn't do and just let it be what it has to be or what it is, you know, but then you're just like, I hate it. No, I love it. No,
I hate it.
I hate it.
Okay, it's fine.
It's terrible.
It's not fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's no, you know, Maxwell's Silverhammer, you know, but what are you going to do? Yeah. Anyway.
Are you
sort
the kind of person that gets bummed out if you don't have stuff to look forward to?
Oh, yeah. But totally. But not only am I that person, I'm the person who's like, you know, sometimes I feel like a goldfish where like the dopest, craziest shit could have just happened to me. And then the next 2 days are still in quiet and I'm like largely alone. And I completely forget.
It negates
you know, it's not
all
that
of
I
it.
forget, but I'm forward motion. I'm always looking ahead. I'm always looking forward. And like, you know, as much as I can ride a beautiful wave of like euphoria that I feel from a specific thing happening or a show or a you know, a specific encounter with somebody that left me feeling amazing or whatever it is, like, you know, if that Monday rolls around and I'm alone and trying to work on my shit, I'll be like riding the wave for a little bit, but then I'll be like, man, I gotta call somebody.
I need that
like,
new thing. That's
yeah,
him.
you know what I mean? Like,
Karina, I'm gonna tell you
are
something.
you like this? Are you
him.
like this?
Check this out. We were
Tell
at
me.
fuck, I can't remember what. I think it was an Humphreys show a couple
Oh
of
my
years
God.
ago, and I'm high as a kite. We're at the show, and in the second set, it's super trippy, and I'm grooving, and in my head, I'm like, "Fuck, there's not another show for like 3 weeks, man." Like
At the show.
I'm in it,
Dancing.
in the moment,
At the show.
while it's happening, going, "Oh shit,
When's the next thing?
the next thing?"
Let me look at my calendar.
So no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, that's even, I would say that's more extreme than I am. That's because
It's
like,
pretty extreme.
I don't feel, I definitely feel like, you know, ensconced in a moment. Like if I'm at a show or if I'm playing a show, even if that's the last thing for a while, whatever, like it's not that gets me. It's the Monday after, the Tuesday after, if I haven't, because now I'm also learning, you see, you guys, thank God you're here, because I have so much to say. So
You'll listen back at this and you're going to freaking love it because you're going to learn again all the stuff that you're talking about right now. You're going to listen to yourself and be like, oh shit, that's right.
it's like I tell my mother this stuff and like she's just like, you know, she's so funny because she actually has, you know, perspective and can see the forest from the trees. She's like, Karina, like what are you talking about? You just did the craziest shit ever. You're allowed to have a Monday and Tuesday where you don't know what you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay. But the point I was trying to get to was you know, I right up until the pandemic struck in February 2020, I mentioned this job I had working for Rocks Off, and I was the GM of that company, but I worked for that company for 7.5 years.
Oh, wow.
From the time I was 18 to, whatever that was, 26, and change. And that was my day job, and everything else, and then school came and went in 4 years. Right. But then the string that held it together was this job that I had. So, my music happened around that, if you know what I mean, which made me sort of, sometimes, you look at people with these 9-to-5s, and of course that job was anything but a 9-to-5 in terms of I definitely had more leeway than anyone, and I was really steering the ship there for a minute, and I could be anywhere and do it from my laptop. It was very unorganized in a lot of ways, in great ways. But when you have structure imposed on you with a job like that, you have this, burning desire to do other things, AKA play music. And, I was in Marco's band for, 3 years until that dissolved, until I quit my job, you know what I mean? And whatever. And I would do both simultaneously. And it's you have these pockets of time that, you have to seize, as opposed to having endless time on your hands. Which of course, now it's not that I have endless time on my hands, but it's okay, if you can have a life that's free enough such that you can go on tour, right? What happens when you're not on tour? Okay, you write your record. Okay, endless time to write my record, but not really, but sort of. But just, I don't know. I'm making the larger point that I'm learning how to manage my time when I'm off the road, and now without the constraints of a day job or anything else, which is the biggest, most beautiful blessing I could ever ask for. But I'm learning how to do it, because sometimes I'm damn, you just put off that thing that you've been meaning to do for 3 days. Why? Well, if you want something done, ask a busy person. That's I really believe in that. And it's not that I'm not busy. I'm busy. It's not that, but sometimes, you carve out these moments of time for you to write and do, the slower, behind the scenes creative shit that you need to do. And I wonder sometimes, if I had a day job, would my night job, my output be stronger? You know what I mean? Just these things that you wonder, you overthink these things.
No, it makes 100% sense what you're saying.
You get that?
Totally.
You get that?
I'm in the boat right now of all three of us actually still have day jobs. We've been working for almost 5 years to make this our full-time thing, and we're getting close. It's just not there yet. And
sure.
I can only imagine what you're talking about, festival season and concert season. Yeah, we're going to be busy as shit. But then what happens during the holidays, or when things aren't popping off? What do we do? You know what I mean? We're going to have to refigure out how to live our lives, and without structure and
self-imposed structure.
Right. And to be our own taskmaster. There's nobody telling you have to get up in the morning. You
exactly
got to figure it out for yourself. And I don't know at 27 if I would have had the capacity to be able to do that.
Oh, we did not. I know that.
Yeah, you were there. We absolutely
yes, we were there.
Well, I think time is so weird right now that, it's not the same 27 doesn't equal the same 27 when you were right. 27. There has been an evolution, and 27-year-olds now are CEOs and entrepreneurs and, create companies and have children and families. So
start awesome bands.
Exactly. So it's awesome that at this stage of your life, Karina, that this is part of your task, because this does come at a later time. Like he said, we're all figuring that out right now, the three of us. And how does that look for us? How does it go from transitioning? Like you said, it was 3 years before it dissolved, right? Well, there's a dissolution happening, and sometimes it happens instant, and then other times it takes a little bit of untangling, And so that's at 43, at 50s. That's what we're figuring out, that you're figuring out at 27. So that's why this is a great conversation for us. You're just saying, well, I'm trying to figure it out. We are too.
And as you're talking, Karina, I'm listening and I'm going, she's talking to me. What you're saying was totally applicable for right now. And I know in a span of time, I don't know how long, but I'm going to have to listen back and remind myself, you know what I mean? Like, you need to get your shit together, man. There's nobody telling you to wake up. And, you know, that thing that you needed to do 4 days ago isn't going to get done by anybody else. You need to fucking do it yourself. And yeah, it's tough.
See, but this is the process time is what they, like the yogis talk about. It's not getting to the summit. It's going to the summit. And that's what it's always about. It's not that we've ended it and figured it out. It's that we are figuring it out. And that's that untangling. It's like that one wire and then another wire. And then like it's being unfolded rather than immediately revealed. And that's what's cool about this. And that's why it's rad that at 27, 43, 52, 50, we're literally in the same spot, but different. And that's, that's why this conversation's dope, because we're all doing the same thing, but different. And we can all like learn from, you know, just changing your perspective on how you see it. Because sometimes if you're so dogmatic and seeing things one way, just tweaking it a little bit can save you heartache and worry and stress. Just a little tweak. So,
100%.
Right?
And hopefully people, you know, like who listen to this knowing that like, you know, they're not alone. And not only that, but, you know, I say to myself when I like struggle with this stuff and I'm just like, oh, shit, like, you know, there's nothing imposed on you, Karina. You got to do it yourself. And which means, you know, you have to structure everything and you have to schedule everything. If you want to, you know, be in the studio these days and these days and these days, you have to make that happen, you know, and you have to like, you know, call your people and make sure they're all on board and work around their schedules and like all of that stuff, you know, but, you know, I say to myself, I'm like, you know, it's the life of an artist. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that every artist deals with this, you know, that's what the job is. And it comes with insane highs and it comes with insane, you know, grapplings and way too much overthinking and all these different, you know, moments in your life. And like I said, like if you have the amount of time, you know, if you have structured your life such that you have time to go on tour, you know, it's about what happens when you're not there and all that stuff. And then I think, you know, that's its own trial and tribulation, right? But people with 9-to-5s have a million trials and tribulations about that. And they're different ones, but they're, you know, nothing is ever so simple. You know what I mean?
No.
Not even the road.
No. That's twice, Karina. That's pretty damn good.
Boom. Yo, you guys can cut that up and use it as a little promo.
Thank you. We were going to ask after we were off the air, but thanks for
that shit. Put some effects on it.
Absolutely love
take it. Run with it.
Karina, I want to talk about important shit with you. Okay?
Tell me right now. Let's go.
Sci-Fi Soldier, where do you stand?
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
I thought it was an amazing undertaking by 4 gentlemen who continue to reinvent themselves and push boundaries and fucking give, you know, it's shit like that keeps the band young. It's shit like that keeps the band operating at the highest of levels that they ever have. And to be able to pull anything like that off is a feat of insurmountable, you know, measures.
I could fucking agree with you.
That was like mic drop.
More. We were there. And
sick.
It was fucking incredible. And it just, when I hear people shit on it, I'm like, first off, fuck you. And then second, like, did you do that on Halloween? Did you?
Yeah, what were
did
you
play
doing?
Sci-Fi Soldier for the MGM Grand Garden Arena? No, okay, be quiet. But like, what you said about keeping them young, I think that is 100% true. I know that it's true for us. The going to shows is the fountain of youth. 100%.
100%.
And they
totally
like you stayed busy through all that. That's one thing, and I know you'll agree with this. Everybody, Trey was amazing through that. He didn't stop. There was
Playing toilet
constantly
paper rolls,
there was
dude.
constantly something happening with Trey all the way through that, which was just that little bit of light you needed to keep going forward.
Without a doubt. And he's that guy, you know, and the only thing, you know, he literally loves doing his job more than anybody. He really does.
Dang.
And he's
Yeah.
fucking good at it.
Right.
And, you know, that's all that stuff is all him, you know, he's pushing it. He's pushing. Like, you know, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see. And to me, I don't care if you didn't like the Knuckle Bone Broth Avenue, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you were there and you were like, oh, you know, those songs didn't really do it for me. Like, that doesn't matter. They just descended from the ceiling. Like, what are we, you know what I mean?
What
Like,
do you want?
they're like, oh, but they didn't play the fucking.
It was no 97
the key of
Hampton.
life.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It's like, I mean, I'm not saying like, you know, of course, like, you know, covers are, you know, such a big part of, you know, the Phish thing, the Dead thing, like, you know, of course. And people come to, you know, it's like you know, they did Remain in Light and they did the White Album and they did, you know, what are they going to do? Oh my God, it's going to be moving pictures, bro. It's going to be moving pictures. You know what I mean? Or
I
like,
was
whatever.
the
And it's like,
2112. Yeah.
yeah, like, you know, and of course, like, you know, that's nobody would be mad if they came and busted out a sweet, you know, Prince set. Of course not. But like the fact that they like that, do you know how much easier it is to do something like that than it is to write and rehearse whatever it is, you know, 14 new songs? I don't care if you think they're bad or not, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a huge undertaking.
It's
and
gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
and like, this is, you know, we're so grateful for Sober Trey and we're so grateful for a functional Phish. Not only are we grateful for a functional Phish, we're grateful for a Phish that keeps on reinventing itself and pushing itself. And like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we get an egg in the hole over New Year's, you know, or whatever it is. Like, you know, all these crazy songs that, and I think that's great because it adds to the mythology and the folklore and the whole thing
So
that draws
smart.
us to this in the first place. And what they've built is, you know, it's unbelievable what they've built.
Mhm.
And so who are we to say anything other than, oh my God, thank you, Phish. Like, this is ridiculous. How much more do you want, you entitled fans? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my
Like,
God. I
it's
freaking
Karina,
love
Yeah.
I loved you before we talked. I
This-
love you so
Even
much more now.
more.
See, that's
after
what
hearing that.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
that makes me happy because I don't know why he's saying that. He's the one that's like, oh, well, they didn't do this. And I just love that they play. Like, they're fucking dope.
I told you
care.
I don't give a fuck what they play. They could play Happy Birthday for 2
you
hours.
and
I'll
your
be happy.
statistics
Yeah, we wanted a-
and your
We wanted
you
a
know what I'm
55-minute
talking about.
farmhouse and screw what everybody else says.
But it's just true. It's like, you know what, paying homage, just the fact that they're dope, they're killing it, and they keep killing it, and they're finding new ways to kill it. That's it.
Are you gonna be at New Year's?
yes.
So
I'll be at all 4 nights.
Yeah.
Mel got me and her tickets for all 4 nights, airfare for my 50th birthday. My
Oh,
first
get
trip to
out.
New York City
Not.
ever. Like,
Oh,
she's from.
you're going to lose it.
I don't
You're
even
gonna
know what
love
to
it.
expect.
This is great. Oh,
Nothing. Expect a
wow.
good time.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you. This is so huge.
Mm.
Wow.
So where do
You
I go have
gotta-
pizza,
I mean,
Karina?
Joe's. You go to Joe's, and you can go on 14th and 3rd Avenue, or the one downtown, like, you know, by Father Demo Square, on like West 4th Street, or you can go to Williamsburg, but you'll probably be in the city. Yeah. Anyway, you go to Joe's. That's the best
Joe's.
slice. Write that down. You
Okay,
got that?
she's writing
Doing
it
it
down
right
right now.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I see you working on that. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you differently. They can fuck right off.
Okay. Yeah.
I love how passionate
Okay.
New Yorkers are about their spot.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah. Come on. I mean, this is real.
We
this
have-
is
I
real
have-
important.
I have
Let's-
pizza and bagels in New York.
I
dude,
know
come on.
4 people that moved out here. I work in the cannabis industry. 4 people that moved out here from Jersey is all like brothers, like bros. They will not eat pizza out here. They're like, I don't give a
Right.
fuck. They're like, oh, what about, you know, Escape from New York pizza? They bring stuff in from New York to make their, and they're like, no, fuck that.
No.
You
not
got
happening.
West Coast
Right.
doesn't have pizza. It's like, wow, okay.
So
you know, you guys have a lot of other wonderful attributes.
beer,
but, you know,
beer and weed. Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
sounds great.
I
Perfect.
also
So you're good.
yeah, we're set. Fuck pizza. I want to throw out there too, when you come through, I know that you guys all get put up and whatever, but we like to offer to our friends that come through town, like Andy Frasco has stayed with us
several times.
Or just a visit. If you want a dinner,
if you want to get away and get some home cooking and hang out, and we're not far from the Crystal. We're like 10 minutes away, and
use a washer and dryer.
Yeah,
get a treatment from Melanie.
Yeah, Mel's an esthetician.
I am pretty woo, and they feel good. I've given Andy several treatments. He's one
You're
of
an esthetician? What? Are you serious?
Yeah, well, I'm an
I want everything
all
done.
kinds of stuff. That's what I'm saying. We can hook you up for the show.
This is great. I'm going to be in such rough shape by then. Oh
my God. Seriously.
Let's
No,
do
Karina,
it.
seriously. Like, I'm not kidding. I've got everything set up downstairs. I always have it set up. All I need is like ETA.
You need
That's
human.
it.
Yeah.
Well, best news ever. This is the best. Thank God we met.
Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm going to stop recording. Hold on a second.
Hold on, but before you stop recording, because I wanted you to just, I wanted to say, or not say, but I wanted to ask, how do you use your time for fun? Go.
Each day, I use my time for fun. Just, it just pours out of me. I don't even think about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just fun. Like, and yeah, I make the most mundane shit fun, you guys. If you watched me load the dishwasher, you'd be like, damn, that was fun. And if you saw me make the eggs in the morning, you'd be like, shit, that was so fun. And if you saw me pick up the dry cleaning, you'd be like, yo, nothing was more fun than that fucking dry cleaning. So like, I use it in every which way. Really, it's really a beautiful thing. I gotta say. Oh, and the whole like playing music and jumping around on stage and like with my friends and creating, all kinds of fun sounds and stuff. And that's fun too.
That was a pretty fucking fun answer too.
Yeah.
That was the funnest way you could have answered that answer.
Oh, good.
All right, hang on one second. I'm just gonna. All right. Shoot.
I don't even know if I can say it. I don't know. This is bad. No,
we can always
I'll
edit it.
Always edit if you want me to.
Okay. Tell me when. Are you ready?
We're ready for you.
All right. So guys, let me tell you what. I was just saying that I'm addicted to taking baths, and it's a real, a shower every morning, a bath every evening, and I never skip the bath, to the point where even when we were staying in the sketchiest of hotel rooms in the morning, the rest of the crew, sometimes, usually it's pretty chill, but sometimes, you get a red roof in and you're like, yo, sister, no, you didn't. And I go, I did, and I just, it just shuts my whole system down, Eminem got addicted to sleeping pills after these big shows, I am addicted to baths. It brings me right down.
That's a lot healthier.
Does it for me.
Well, hey, you're in
I think it's better for you.
Well, hey,
and
licking the subway poles and the curbs in New York and everything, take a dirty bath.
Totally. Well, here's the real, this is what I really shouldn't say on air, but I'm going to anyway, because, I'm an open book. One time with the Marco Benevento band, right? We were on tour down through the South, and I think the sketchy baths caught up to me, and I started to develop some strange spots on my leg. And the crew, Jeff and Julian, very close to me. They're like, I call them my team of experts. They're some of my closest friends, and they keep me, sound and lights. They're dialed in on the road, right? I'm like, fellas, I got these weird spots on my leg. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then they're like, show us. And I show them. They're like, oh God, what? And we're in like Tallahassee or somewhere, whatever. And I went to like, one of those like clinics or, a walk-in clinic. And I'm like, yo, hi, I got this on my leg. And they're just like, oh yeah, that's ringworm. And I'm like,
shit. Okay.
So I got, and it was definitely the baths, because it was like, it added up. You know what I mean? Like one too many baths in a Motel 6. Let me tell you, it's not advisable for anybody. But then here's the kicker. We get to New Orleans and we're joking around after the show, being crazy, whatever. And I still had the spots on my leg, right? And I showed the promoter, I was like, hey, look, check out my leg. And I showed him my leg, and he was just like, oh, that's all you got? And he hikes up his pants and shows me like his ratchet ass fucked up leg.
Oh,
He had like such a jacked up leg. I don't know what the fuck. Like it looked like it was mauled by bears or something. Like I don't even know.
Shit.
And like it had scarred over, and he's like, "That's all you got," and showed me that, and I was like, "Oh," he was like, "Ah, this is great, this is great," and then that was that. That was that. So yeah. Anyway,
Holy shit.
You don't
So
one
he
up
out-ratcheted
rashes.
me. He
You don't,
out-
yeah, you don't one up rashes. That's not.
Can't be excited about it. Oh, yeah.
wow.
that's all you got, girl. Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah,
that's
and
all I got. Just a couple spots."
You're like, thank God, that's all
all
I
you
got.
I'm gonna call the
Yeah,
episode
dude.
"Dodging Ringworm" with Karina Rykman.
Oh
No, I'm
yeah,
just
that'd be
kidding.
great. That'd be great. Please don't. Try not to.
I
We're
will
not
not.
gonna.
I will not do that.
You know,
Karina,
it's
hey,
my fault. I dug this grave. I'm gonna lie in it.
yeah. Thanks.
See, taking responsibility. Nice one, Karina.
I dug it. I said I shouldn't say it. It's a little too personal. Not so good.
It's
Can't say
okay.
It's
this
hard
shit
not to
on
get
the air.
personal
Hey,
on here.
you
We're
know what?
personal.
It's all good. We've all had our moments. Trust me.
Yeah.
Fucking ringworm, guys.
Yeah,
Ringworm.
we can
Who
talk
gives a fuck?
ringworms later.
Yeah. I just want to say,
Goes away with a little topical. Oh yeah, please.
hey, we appreciate you, and you're
Yes.
fucking awesome. And this was super fun. So we need to do it again when the album comes out. That's what I'm saying.
I would be thrilled. Thank
Aw.
you guys. You guys are so lovely, charming people, and really, we can really talk. We got deep
I'd love
on
it.
some shit, guys.
Yeah, that's what we love to do. When Aaron
That's our
said it
show,
earlier,
man.
we would love nothing more. I mean, we were already cheerleaders for you, but now getting to sit and talk with you and get to know you more as a person, not just that awesome bass player, we're so fucking rooting for you, girl. If you just keep
Aw.
doing
Go
what
get
you're
'em.
doing, you are like,
Mhm.
we have this thing in this house. Aaron finally had to admit, we used to always say 110%. He's like, that's not mathematically
That's not a
possible. And then it started popping up of other people saying it. You were 110%. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Aw.
I'll just agree on 110%.
Yes.
Yeah, and hopefully we cross paths at MSG, man. You never know.
Yo, it's your first time in the city. All bullshit aside, you have my email. If you have any questions, if you're like, yo, where do I get the best this or the best that? And where do I go for this? And where do I go for that? Please don't hesitate.
Aw.
Because I
Awesome.
love to be an ambassador for the city I grew up in. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Mm.
And I really hope we cross
wait.
paths in the hall. That'll
Heck
be
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that'll be
I'll
cool.
be like, holy shit.
All right.
That'd be really, really a blast. Yeah. Oh my
Right
God.
on.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was so
Of
epic.
course.
So epic.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
talk
For us
soon.
too.
and
For us too,
and
for sure.
keep your eyes peeled. A couple of things are coming in the mail for you.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you
I
in
cannot
March.
wait.
For
Thank you.
sure.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you
Karina.
then.
Take it easy.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Aw.
Bye.
City kids don't walk on grass, oh no. They walk so fast, oh yeah. I see ya, and you're barefoot on the lawn. How can we get along? We can't. I tried to learn suburban things, but pumping gas is not for me. Maybe it's time to cut the kids a break. Maybe we'll eat some cake and spin around in circles till we think we're gonna die. I swear I'm an okay guy. I think you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it sink. City kids don't walk on grass, oh no. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, I never learned to camp. Can't even pitch a tent. I've been jumping turnstiles, hailing taxis with intent. Do you need directions? I bet. It's not where you're from, but it's where I'm at. City kids don't walk on grass, oh no.
Holy moly.
Karina Rykman, ladies and gentlemen. No energy at all.
No.
Super quiet. Didn't have anything to say.
She doesn't do things joyfully.
Nope. You know,
It's a struggle.
what happened, Apple? Oh, Apple bounced. All right. Well, yeah, I was still going. Apple just fucking split in the middle.
Thanks,
of
Karina, for visiting the No Simple Road crew and hanging out with us and spending Sunday with us.
It was fun.
To everybody, you won't hear this then, but it's going to be Passover at sundown. So
Today?
Happy Passover at sundown. Yes.
No.
Not Passover.
In April.
Not Passover. What am I
talking
Hanukkah.
about? Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. Sorry. Not Passover.
You almost lost your Jew card.
I did just for a second, but I regained it.
Yeah.
It's Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody. And 8 crazy nights. I hope that your lights stay on. And we love you guys. And this isn't the end of the show because right now we're going to go do the outro, right?
That's right.
So here we go. This is us. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And here we are. Like how many months later?
Boom.
We
That's
went.
like magic.
Wow, we were on hold for a while.
We transported through time.
That was
all the
that was
way.
Portland magic.
It was some kind of magic.
Boom.
We transported from the first night of Hanukkah all the way into the new year.
Whoa.
Now.
That was one long strange trip.
Jesus Christ. Yes, it was.
That qualifies.
Wow. Hey.
Or as welcome back, everybody.
To
What?
No
What were you gonna
Simple
say?
Road.
Well, I was gonna say, as we were just listening to things have changed between then and now. Like long trip didn't happen. Someday,
yes.
but we'll get into that. But anyway, like Aaron was starting to say, welcome everybody. This is Apple
And Aaron.
And Mel.
And we
This
are
is
No
us.
Simple Road. No,
and
just
Darwin.
kidding.
And Darwin.
And Darwin.
Who's laying under the table.
Yeah.
So I want to start off with a PSA this week.
Public service announcement.
I have a public service announcement, and it's very important, and I want to set the tone for the new year for everyone that listens to No Simple Road with a little public service announcement. So I want, if you're listening right now, well, you are listening right now, I want you to like get yourself cozy for a minute. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. And but if you're at home, get yourself a little something to drink and just sit back. And I want to share something with all of you. I haven't Apple and Mel don't know what I'm about to say.
No, whereas if you could see, we're both looking at
Giving each
him
other
like,
the eye.
okay,
I'm
well,
like,
what
right.
what is this? He's not. It doesn't seem perturbed though. So
No, no, I'm not perturbed.
Okay.
Per se.
Per se.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, go.
No,
go.
I'm not. I'm
What's
not
happening,
perturbed.
brother?
All right.
Public service
service announcement. Here we go. 2022. Everybody fucking stop it, man. No.
Well said. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next.
All right. There's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. There's a lot of craziness happening on the planet. I'm not just talking about in the United States. I am talking about globally. There is a lot that we all have gone through in the past 2 years. And there has something that's come out of all of this that it needs to stop. And it needs to stop. I only can control myself sometimes. And I can only share with you the way I feel, you guys that are listening and you guys here in the room. But it doesn't matter what your political bent is, what party or not party you believe in. It doesn't matter where you stand on vaccination or not vaccination. It doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the division that's going on out there, and it needs to fucking come to an end. We all need to stop arguing with each other and learn how to have conversations again, and learn how to listen to each other even when we don't agree, and to be open to being wrong, and to admitting when we've made a mistake, and to being fucking adults about it, and treating each other with love, kindness, and respect. I am deeply, deeply disappointed in the reaction of the community at large, of humanity, in the way that we've treated each other through this crisis that we've all gone through. We all had an opportunity to rise to the occasion and become better for each other and with each other through this thing. And we have not done that. And I'm not talking about individually, I'm talking about on the whole as humanity. I've seen more fighting amongst my brothers and sisters for their views on this, that, and the other thing than any time ever that I've been alive. And I understand that the stakes are high, but that's every reason for all of us to come together in this moment. And we're starting a new year, and the calling each other clowns online or stupid or arguing and bickering and comments on threads. I'm just saying, man, we need to stop. This community of the jam band community or the psychedelic community or whatever, this thing that we're all a part of, we need to be setting an example, man. This is like my opinion, man. We need to be setting an example. And if we would think that anybody would be attracted to love, kindness, helping your brother or your sister out. And I know that that's a huge thing that drew me into loving the Grateful Dead and, being kind and all of that. I'm just not seeing it, man. And the longer this thing goes on, the worse it's getting. And I've heard very few of people that have platforms stop and say anything. And it's been bothering me, and I haven't known how to articulate it or get it out to all of you guys. And so we're starting a new year. This is the first show we've put out this year. And man, I just want to say, just take a minute and breathe. And you got to come from a place of kindness and understanding and move forward into this year with a little respect for each other and find that love that has so badly disappeared over the past couple of years. We don't need to fight with each other. We need to come together in this moment that we're in right now. We need each other more than ever, you guys. Regardless of what we believe, what color fucking party, where you stand on what's going on in the world, we need each other. We need the connection, and we need to talk. So let's just say that we're going to do better in 2022. You know, like when I've been sending out emails to people at the beginning of this year, instead of saying Happy New Year, I'm saying, let's make 2022 a year we can all be proud of. And I know I'm just as guilty as the next guy with all of this. I'm not pointing my finger at anybody but myself, and I'm just saying that it needs to stop. So I hope that all of you guys out there hear me and hear where I'm coming from, and take it to heart, because we've lost our kindness, and the love that we all share has gotten diluted, and I hate to see it happen. So that's my public service announcement for
I like
the beginning
that.
of 2022.
Because I like what you said, because that's one thing I meant that this happened through, that we've lost our ability to debate, communicate, talk. Like I miss that. I always loved like debating and stuff, like with your best friend or whatever. Like you debate, and then it can get heated, and you listen to each other, and then you laugh and you go have fun.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
or you
listen.
like have a really great conversation out of it. Like, whoa, I never knew that about your family, or I never knew you thought that. Like, there can be some really amazing outcomes through.
Yeah. So if you keep your ears open and
communication,
you listen to somebody thoroughly.
Yeah. It made me feel like when the kids screwed up when they were little and you yelled at them, and I was like, I wanted to defend them, but I couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be like, don't you yell at Sydney like that. But like, she, deserved it, or Simon or something. And I mean, I hear where you're coming from. I mean, there have been people that have acted like that. The majority of us have acted like that in one fashion or another.
Yeah.
For one way or another, or are currently acting like that, whatever, it's hard. Sometimes being human is not easy. It's, that's
especially right now.
That's a truth. Sometimes you are so stressed out or so just fatigue. I think that at this point, there's so much fatigue that's going on, like I know what you just said, but compassion, it's not dead. It's not dead yet.
It's not as prevalent.
No, but it's not gone. We've
lost our sense of humor, and especially like Aaron was saying, with our community, it's built on something that like the Grateful Dead built on, and the pranksters, the prankster part of it,
and fun,
witty, the I know I'm guilty. I there's nothing more there's nothing more I love than laughing and having fun and being silly and stuff, and we still do through all this, but it's not as elevated as was, as prevalent, as part of everyday life.
It's more
tougher
sparse than abundant.
Here's the other side of it too, and take from this what you will, but like, if we're all busy fighting with each other, you don't know if somebody's there trying to fuck you over. You know what I mean? You're all busy looking at something else, and the shell game's happening behind your back.
Yeah, and that's a classic one. The distraction, so we can do things over here.
Yeah.
And you'll never know.
So I just keep hearing the lyrics to Ripple in my head, and I see in our community that that's not happening. And this isn't an indictment of the
Can
jam
you say
community.
this? Maybe it can be happening more.
Yeah, that I'll say that. Yeah, it could be happening more. And I also, like, I want to make it clear I'm talking to myself too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not perfect. I haven't fucking attained, or I would disappear from this planet.
How have you like done stuff to help? Like, what do you feel like you've contributed to that, cause?
By saying something right now. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And also, man, like, just personally, giving myself a little bit of grace in all of this, because this is like the third wave of everything that's happened. And like you said, there's a lot of fatigue that's going on out there. And if this is going to continue going in waves like this, then we need to learn how to deal with it, right? Or it's
long term,
or you're going to get crushed by the wave. You need to
learn to surf.
Yeah, go with the flow. And so I'm, for me personally, like just giving myself a little bit of grace and taking care of myself a little better through this, so that I'm not as on edge and ready to snap when stuff comes up, and realizing that like people that have opposing viewpoints from me, they believe that stuff just as wholeheartedly as I believe what I believe, right? And honestly, none of us know for sure. We're doing our best guess and going with our gut.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. And we're all in the same fucking boat together. And if we're just beating the shit out of each other all the time, we're not getting anywhere, man.
Well,
we got to love each other. We have to. Or this whole ball of wax comes tumbling down. I keep hearing Ripple and I keep hearing the Phish rise come together. Like, we have to rise up through this and come together. It's time, man. This is like, we're in crunch time now, and we can either be completely torn apart by this thing and, or not. Or it could be the thing that defines who we are, and we can rise to the occasion. I remember when this very first started, and, we had first gone into lockdown, and like the dolphins were back in the canals in Venice, and the beaches were clean, and like there was no traffic on the freeways. And there was this moment of hope.
And it was like a quiet moment also. Like it was a pleasant pause.
And we
you
were
could
like,
hear the planet taking a breath.
Yeah, and we were like, as a humanity was like, we're in it together. Mm-hmm. And there was hope in that.
Yeah. And
then now it's just been slammed into the wall and beaten over the head with a rusty hammer. Yeah. And it's sad, man. And I'm only speaking to you guys because you're the ones that listen to the show. And so, and I see a lot of how we deal with each other on social media. So maybe we could just all decide to be just a little bit nicer to each other going into 2022, man. And, those ripples would echo out into the world, man. And we could change the way things are going. And I really, really believe that. And I fucking love this family with all my heart. And I know that we're the kind of people that can rise to the occasion. And I want to see it happen. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think we started to get a start on that when we were able to start going back to live music and get that like being plugged back in again. And seeing us too, or like getting out there and stuff. That was like a resurgence, and we can't let that get stale. All these people we love and talk to and listen to in our ears all the time, they're out there busting their asses to bring that to us.
Yep.
And they're working through it. We got to work through it with them. I think we've been doing really good. We've been being really supportive. We've been showing.
Yeah,
in this jam band community that we can go do this and be healthy and happy and everything.
And support them regardless of what your choices or where you stand. But we support each other because
that shit,
we're family.
So as soon as you walk into a Phish show or a Pigeons playing ping pong show, or that all that shit gets checked at the door immediately.
For real.
Leave that shit checked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what we all love. That's what we love to do.
And, going into a new year, man, like it is sort of cheesy, like the whole New Year's resolution thing. Like we've all made them and broken them however many times in our lives at this point. But, every year since we started No Simple Road, at least, I know that I've been more focused at year's end as to like what last year was like and how I want to move forward in the new year. And I'm not like I don't make resolutions like I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. I'm going to quit drinking coffee, which will never happen. I'll never quit drinking coffee. But I don't do that because I'm just setting myself up for a fucking letdown later on down the line. But I do like to set little personal goals. Like I want to do better this year. You know what I mean?
That's a good
I want to
way.
be more kind in the new year. I want to spread
to be
a little
more loving.
love. Yeah. That I think
that's not a resolution. That's reclaiming, because we're all born with that. We have those things. The discommunication, everything comes with the shit heaped on us. That's just reclaiming what we were given.
Yeah. And this community and the music that we all listen to, and when we're all at shows together, we can't forget that that's magic. Like real tangible magic that you can touch and feel and be a part of. And anything that would try and come between me and that is going to have a problem, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll fight for that. That's as important to me as food. Like that's a real need for me. And I don't ever want to see it tarnished or fucked up. And so going into 2022 for myself, I just I want to bring a little more love and a little more kindness and a breath of fresh air in a world that's gotten a little bit foggy and smoggy. You know what I mean? And I hope that you guys feel where I'm coming from, man. It's not like a shitty thing. It's a good thing. Like, hey, everybody, stop, take a breath, and let's get back to what really matters here, because that's what's important. And I'll stop. I'll get down off my soapbox here. Give me a second to climb down. There.
You get the ladder.
There, I'm down.
It's way up there.
Anyway, welcome to No Simple Roads PSA for 2022.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that was your PSA for 2022.
Yeah. You feel like you have to follow with like the opinions of Aaron do not necessarily reflect No Simple Road LLC, Melanie, and Apple, and Darwin.
Thank you, Apple, for that. I don't feel like that going into 2022 because I don't give a fuck about that. I'm having one of those moments in life where it's like all that caring last year. Remember we were talking about that? Caring about just, it's almost you can get obsessive about what's happening in the world. And it's true. How can you not? You live in the world. You have to know about things. You have to comply with things. You have to change plans because of things. MSG. So it's going to affect you no matter what. And it did. It affected us as a family and then also the world. But we were supposed to have this incredible New Year's celebration. We were going to fly to New York.
Well, we talked about this already.
Did we?
Yeah, on the Paul Hoffman episode.
Oh yeah, this was
right.
This was talked about.
That's right.
Quite a bit.
So that whole thing so then you said we were going to talk about our New Year's.
Yeah, our party. We had
our party.
Our get
down.
Yeah, that's what I was leading into.
Making lemons.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of leading into.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I was. Okay, we're back on track. And the celebration that ensued because of us not being able to go is one of the best memories of my life to date right now.
We truly we destroyed this metaphor last week. We used it so much, but we really did literally and figuratively make lemonade with the lemons that we were given.
Yes. In one case, we bought lemons. In the other case, they were given to us.
And
in
we
both cases, we
lemonade. Yep.
Yes. This year, I was really proud of myself. We had that incredible celebration, which we'll all talk about in a second. But after that, I had planned our first Women's Circle of the Year. So I started this in December, and this is the second one now, but first one of the year. And that has ignited a lot of power, not just in me, but in the other women that were there. And seeing somebody's excitement and somebody else's energy mixing with my energy really changes the energy. I hate to keep using that word so much, but it's true. Like just mixing our time together and our ideas and what our interests are has stirred up the pot in multiple households. And I'm really excited to see where it takes me this year, because it feels like I feel like I'm not a skier, but I feel like it's like right on the brink of an amazing jump, and you like put your arms back and you like chest forward, and like it feels like that.
You're
like,
about to launch.
It feels almost like the Fool tarot card, but we're going up and out, and it's intentional
Instead of off the cliff without knowing what the hell you're doing.
Yes, yes, a brand new leaping into something cosmic. You don't know what, but the trajectory is up, out, and bold.
The way I heard it put so well today when we talked with Jeff Firewalker, and we got on the phone with him, and he was like, man, there's a lot of manifestation energy going on in 2022. There's something going on.
Sure is.
Yeah. I feel it too, man. There's I don't know what it is, but it's a brewing.
It's definitely something
twister.
brewing. I am really excited about it, is all that I can really say. But back to our fantastic New Year's Eve, I'm still reeling from it. I feel like there's this incredible connection. I wish we could have nurtured it a little bit more, even more after those 2 days.
I didn't want anybody that was here to go home. When we went to sleep that night, our friends were getting ready to leave. And we were like, they were deciding if they were going to stay for a while and sleep and then go home. And I was like, well, if you guys leave now, then you won't be here when we wake up. Like, it felt like a little kid.
It did feel like a little, why do you got to go? Yeah.
So New Year's Eve, we had a couple of, two couples. Yeah. Over.
Great.
And took a sacrament. And Mel decorated the house with beautiful candles and rosemary bushes and like an entire dining room table with snacks and chocolate and drinks and tarot cards placed, decks placed all over the house. It felt like
the whole house was an altar. At first, it was going to be like many altars. It's like the house was an altar.
Yep.
That night.
Yeah.
All over.
And it started kind of haphazard the night everybody was kind of finding their sea legs as we started coming into another space. And it was absolutely astounding what happened here in the studio.
I like what you said, Apple, that the house was an altar, because, I learned something a long time ago when I was in New Mexico in Kundalini Yoga Camp. Every Sunday, or maybe it was every month. I can't recall how often it was, but it was often. And I want to say maybe it was every week.
It had to be every Sunday because you weren't there that long.
They would empty out the entire Gurdwara, like their church, and everything. And literally like from top to bottom, clean it, spider webs, wipe down the ceilings. That's what I was doing for the house. It was like preparing the house for the year. This not just a celebration, but the year, like ruffling its feathers and moving energy. And so while I was preparing the house, I was feeling it. I felt like I felt what I want, the energy that I wanted to be in the home. I wanted it to feel clean. Like whatever we do here is going to be new. I didn't want any stagnant advice or opinions or energy around, So that was the first thing that I did as far as like creating the altar space, because when it's a sacred space, you want to prepare it properly.
It felt like what I would imagine like being inside a sacred cave felt like the Eleusinian mysteries.
It was very cozy. It definitely felt like we were inside of a big like tent or a big I don't know,
Our
some
bubble. Our
Yeah,
bubble
yeah.
around the house was strong.
it was a really strong. And then like as far as like, Tiffany brought over one of the most amazing holiday offerings that I could have ever seen. We talked about it. I sent her something on Instagram.
It was like pine boughs and pine cones and candles in this beautiful silver woven basket. Like it looked like an offering all on its own.
Like when you would on the elephant, they would like have like the big like, I don't know that you can't. Is it a saddle on an elephant? It's like
no, it's like a box.
Like the box.
Yeah, those
that
little
sits up on
boxes,
the
but like it was
saddle.
with like royalty, with a basket like this with
Yeah.
like candles and like beads and nuts and like it was just so gorgeous. Like
when they came walking up with the two, I loved because Tiff is petite like Mel, and she's carrying this huge, like arms loaded with stuff, and it was huge.
It was huge.
And he's like balancing this thing because they're coming up like okay,
was
we can't we got to go set all this stuff down before we
Yeah.
can even hug or anything because they're awesome.
We put on the Phish stream and settled into that for a while, and everybody kind of was just talking and dancing and cruising around, and Cody and I were playing guitar during that, playing along
Cody
with
set up
Phish.
such an amazing space in the living room. Like he just plotted over there. My favorite thing of the night was the lighting. The lighting was my favorite element of the evening because everything was kind of like soft and like kind of orangey and like just inviting and glowy and warm. And Cody was playing music and Phil was talking because we had him on the TV, and the conversation was flowing, and it was
Phil.
not Phil. I didn't mean to
Trey.
say Trey. Yeah.
I was like, what? Did you watch a different stream that I didn't see?
Outside, we were doing something
Yeah.
different, which we did. We put Dig and Dirt out outside, and that was super fun. But no,
Yeah, because you needed someone to play the drums too better. That was
yeah. But yeah, even bringing the drums out, like it just was it felt, I wanted it to feel participatory. I wanted everybody to feel like, sometimes when you're at someone else's house, I don't want to say you get bored, but like something, there's like a lull time because
There wasn't none of that.
I wanted everybody to have something to like mess with or meddle in or look at or interact with. And
Well, we all ended up here in the studio.
yes.
After we did the countdown, I think.
No, we did a candle lighting ceremony
at midnight. Yeah. And I'll leave that alone. But
Yeah.
we did our little ritual thing. And then we all ended up here in the studio just kind of organically. I wasn't like, everybody in the studio now. It was just me and Ben came in here first. And
yeah, when Cody and Bree had to get back to Amigo.
yeah. And me and Ben came in here and sat down and in psychedelic space, especially with the sacrament that we took, it's very easy to connect with people there in that space. And it garners a deep connection with other human beings, but there's times when something else occurs. And this was one of those times. Like Ben shared with me the way that he feels about me. And I hadn't heard that ever from him before. Like, why would two dudes tell, you know what I
Why
mean?
not?
It was just in passing conversation. That's not the way dudes are.
It's not like the lighthearted.
Yeah. And,
I tell Tiffany almost every time I see her how much she means to me.
but one of the things that he said was like, dude, I see how much you do and I want to help.
Aw.
And even if there's nothing for him to ever do, just knowing that was like, it blew my mind.
Mm.
And knowing that somebody like, other than you guys and Cody, like somebody feels like that, like it was a moment for me. And then everybody ended up in here like right after that. And we were like sitting in a circle.
Like a natural progression.
Yeah, around the table
Well,
in here.
And coming from Ben too, that's a person says something like that, that means a lot.
Yeah.
So like same thing, flip the table, look at everything he does and the
Oh my
family.
gosh, yes.
Oh,
like that's like a Minch telling you you're
Yeah.
like
somebody that I respect as another
Yeah.
father
You
and
feel
dad.
that way.
And like, yeah, dude. Oh my God. And same from Tiff.
Yeah.
And her and I connected that night in a way that we haven't before. And but when we ended up in here around the table, it was towards the end of the evening. So, you know, we weren't peaking or anything at that point, but something happened in here. Something descended, and
Or ascended.
I don't know, man. Like it was like
How could you describe that?
it was like if you had 5 grandfather clocks sitting next to each other with the thing that hangs down all swinging in different directions, and all of a sudden they all started going the same left and right at the exact same time.
That's a good analogy.
That's what it felt like.
What about you, Apple? How would you describe that? Whatever feeling.
But something like that to me. I mean, like this talking about it's cool and everything, but it's not something you can like
Get out.
No,
You can't. You
no.
can't.
That night was all about connection and growth with the people around us and us. And like what Aaron just said, I was just talking to Mel about that earlier this evening when we were in the kitchen. That night was so fun because we all spent a lot of time together and a lot of time separate with every person that night. Bree, Cody, all that. We all had an intimate moment with
Each person.
that person, and then together and as little groups and everything, or bonded a whole lot. Me and Ryder both did with Tiffany and the things that, and that's the thing. A lot of it is very personal stuff and everything, but that's what
You
we
can't
turned
convey
that
the
night
feeling
into was
of
all
that.
about what Aaron's PSA was kind of about, of like keeping that love alive, growing it, pushing it, setting an example. And everything. And one thing that this has to do with this a little, but also it's part of just something as a kind of a PSA, Aaron, or my last year I found, I think we all do, especially getting older, it's so easy to get frustrated with the youth of this world. And I do it at work. I work with a lot of younger people, early, like just freshly 21, 22, 20. And I find myself very frustrated with them. But I've found in the last few weeks, and especially just starting this new year this week, especially the ones I was getting annoyed with, of communicating with them more. And pulling it, I did it with a couple of the new bud tender, like dude, how are you feeling? Because I used to do that more. I used to do check-ins, and now it's just like everything fucking another thing to bother me. And it's like, no, hey, dude, okay, hey, come outside a minute, talk to me. And that means so much to these younger people. I mean, we're scared. And I got 52 years under my belt. And it's easy to get annoyed with people. And especially for me, it was with younger people who are bothering me because they're a lot more opinionated and everything because they're fed so much and they don't know how to filter it. And that's kind of my PS. It's be more compassionate to them. I'm learning that. I'm learning it the hard way by being kind of a dick sometimes, like being compassionate, especially these younger people, these teens and 20s, that this world is way more scarier to them.
It's in sixth gear and there's no brakes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that then that goes back to that evening of, it was just so, it was such a bummer for Aaron and Mel and even me, even though I wasn't going. Oh my God. If I hadn't, for like a day or two, I've never seen you guys were mourning. Okay, it was so sad to see what happened and everything. But then next thing I know, one day it was, you guys were just hard to be around without almost weeping until I came home the next day and fucking party was or not even a party, a intimate get together was being planned. And fucking blew it out. Like Aaron said, all the things, all the intention that Mel put into it with the aesthetics and everything that were created and shit. That night, New Year's Eve, I came home after a fucking hard week, a sale day, just kind of funky. Like for Aaron's like in Sacrament. And I'm like, no, I'm probably not going to do that tonight. I'm just having a few drinks and hanging out with friends and watching Phish.
My Apple goes, my head's just not there, man.
And Aaron looks at me and goes, that's what this is for. And I was like, well, okay, maybe. And he's like, well, it was a rhetorical question. I'm already making you something anyway. It's up to you. But that just, immediately put me in such a great mood to see how everything was and the way the home felt that night. And it was magical. It's like, I think Mel said it earlier too. This is only Wednesday. It's still processing. I'm still. I told Aaron yesterday I had kind of last 2 days. I had like a
men working,
not like a bad head, not like a headache, like a migraine, but like an achy head. And I told Aaron last night, I was like, I figured it out.
You had a lumpy head.
Do you ever feel like, especially after there's occasions like going to live shows, basically sacrament involved, live shows, festivals, or anything. It takes a little time to process. And yesterday I was like, I figured it out. I feel like I should have a sign on my head, one that says slow children at play and under construction. Like things were being, and it was right in the middle, like by your third eye area, all
under
that.
Construction.
Yeah, like shit was like going, we're figuring itself out. And it's
called integration.
Waning. So
yeah. And the thing of it is, man, like you said, Mel and I were so bummed and all of it.
Sometimes I try to pretend.
You weren't trying to pretend. And
there's no
pretending.
And when we were getting ready to, after whatever happened in this room happened, I remember I stood up and I was like, you know what? I'm glad that we didn't go.
That made me so happy.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it made me so happy.
I heard you both vocalize that evening.
Yep.
It felt not more than right. It felt like written.
Yeah.
That whatever was supposed to have happened that night was written in the book, whatever that meant.
You said that to me at one point at night. You said, you know what? Fuck that. This is what was supposed to happen.
Well, yeah.
It was
it was. I just, then the night made me feel like that. Like I didn't want to be optimistic and feel like that. The evening made me feel that way.
I really do feel like we followed the instructions from Phish.
Oh, we absolutely did.
We did. We followed instructions on the website. Like, get handed lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah. I think I did not share the message that I got from Christoph for the creating that collage for him. But one of the things he said was that we are really good at, or I can't remember exactly how he put it, but that we're really good at going with the flow and handling what life gives us.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciated hearing that because,
it didn't feel like that in the moment.
It never feels like that in the moment. And when you look back, you do forget all the things you handled kind of really gracefully or eloquently or even if it was the hair up by your chinny chin chin, you still like handled it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear that from somebody who, one, has never physically met us, but cares enough to listen to the show on a regular basis to really know who we are.
Right.
So from somebody who knows me a lot, it pays attention, that means a lot. And Darwin is snoring and the guys are having a hard time paying attention.
I was just sitting here.
It's hard not to.
I'm sitting here looking at my microphone because I wish there was an easy snap. I was going to say, hold on, everybody. You got to hear the.
It's pretty bassy.
Yeah, he's
out. I think the thing, if there was like, what did you learn on New Year's Eve?
Were you supposed to learn something?
I remembered something, and that's that magic is real.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I didn't realize that I had forgotten that, or that I had let that slip, and it came back with like. No, I don't want to say a vengeance because it's not a negative thing, but it came back with strength, like in full force. And when it hit, I could taste it like literally smell it and taste it, and was like,
yes,
oh shit, that's what that is. Like, and it was going down, and I saw all of you guys see it happening and react to it too. And I was like, oh wow.
Well, that evening made me so much more like invested in diving deeper into the tarot.
The tarot came alive.
The tarot came alive, and at one point I was like, I wonder why tarot has been such a present this evening. And then I was like, while I was thinking of saying that and it's coming out, I'm like, duh, you literally yourself
put tarot decks
out all over the house and created a night and like emulating that entire thing. So of course, but I felt it come alive.
Yeah,
I felt it come out of the picture on the deck, and I was a part of it, and I was inside of it. And
I was reading the description of the one card, and as I was reading it, I could see strands coming out of my mouth, going into each person's head, and each person hearing their portion of what I was saying and how it was hitting them. It was a fucking trip.
That was like what you just said too. That like the forgetting about magic and everything too. That night was a reconnect, because like when you're reading the tarot, I was hearing Mel's ear. We were both in each other's ear, and everything I said or she said, we're like, yeah. Like there was an alignment going on. There was crystal. Remember at one point I was like, you can feel the sound of like when you rub two crystals, like like that was going on, like an alignment and a reconnecting. And then what Mel had written in her book, there's so many things that happened that night that like reignited, like you said, not like vengeance and where it was like a reignition.
Yeah.
And an alignment and a tune up.
You know, when like you got a fire going in the fireplace and you have put logs on it like an hour ago, and it's still going, but it's
kind of
like all it's going to take is
every once in a while.
Yeah, all you got to do is go put another log on it. It's going to come back right back to life, but it's not really keeping anybody warm right now, and it's just there. That's exactly what was going down. And that New Year's Eve, poof, was an entire cord of wood put back on top of that thing. So
kerosene.
It's unbelievable. And Tiffany magically happened to catch that exact moment, or I should say one of the exact moments that Apple and I were sharing one of those little whispery secret, yes, oh my gosh, enlightenment moments, and sent it. And I was like, the looks on Apple and I face, first of all, we look so young.
Oh yeah, the picture she got.
Yeah, we look so young, and there's faces that both of us are making that I can't explain
like
it.
Bewilderment, child,
it's so unique. And yes, babe, that was a perfect way to capture what I feel was the start of our new year, because that happened after midnight.
Mm-hmm. That happened in 2022.
And so that is how we literally started the first hours. The first hours of 2022 were spent doing magic.
That's
all the way up, and
let's keep that party going.
I have been. That's why I was saying it. I've been keeping it going, and I'm in bewilderment at the, like I said, at the energy that I've helped to arouse in the people around me.
Yeah, and
that's what it did. It brought back that compassion that I was starting to miss, and I've always been very compassionate, of being nicer to just everybody in general, not letting things get to me. And like last few nights, I like last night I told you I was binging that show to like 12:30 and stuff. I'm coming home this week, these last few days. I mean, I always it was work, whatever. But I'm tired, but not like last week, the week before, tired, just like like exhausted, tired. I'm tired because of putting myself back into it. and communicating better and shit like that,
Yeah.
and processing still and believing.
So I think that if there's a overarching message from all of what we're talking about right now, at least like I can see that we all got tired, man. We got fatigue, and we needed something to reignite the fire in us for our love and compassion
And remind us who we truly
who we are, and
Wake us up.
Yep. So hopefully we can help you guys out there if you're tired and struggling, and we can light that fire for you and help you get back on your feet, and then we can keep doing that for each other exponentially, and everybody will feel better. How cool would that be?
So cool.
If like in
The
6
coolest.
months the whole world was
The
like
coolest.
a collective sigh of relief and like, yes, we did it. So it's possible.
Yeah.
What did they say in that movie today? Everything is impossible until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, there it is. Wow. I think we just went through our weeks, didn't we?
I mean, we kind of went
Yep.
through our weeks. I'm
It's only,
so glad.
It's only Wednesday.
I was very grateful this week that coming into New Year's, we did have that time off because we were going to be in New York. And so we had some time to relax after the very first of the year. And I went into 1 day work week, followed into my days off. But it was this literal gift that I couldn't even have given myself, foreseeing it that way.
Past you,
it just
up
happened.
after
You guys
you.
handled it well.
It
too.
it just happened to be my days off, and I really feel like 2022, I don't know what it's going to bring, but I know that it started off with a bang and in the most beautiful possible way that I could have ever spent it.
Yeah, and
you guys, I want to clarify because you guys handled that very well.
What
Because
part?
the you guys are already put in for the time off, like you said. You're like, I already put in for the time off. I can't just go back to work now.
Yeah.
And stuff. Which you guys aren't the best at doing downtime, chilling. Your guys' vibe through the entire last week, everything has been chill.
we ordered takeout and laid on the couch,
Thanks.
And you
Apple. That means
embraced
a
it,
lot.
and you embraced it. You guys sometimes, even when you're trying to chill Netflix on the couch, there's a tension about it. Honestly,
I
because
know.
it's not what you guys want to be
Apple,
doing. Because you
don't even
vocalize
gotta
it
say-
sometimes. You guys were fucking chill as fuck the last few days,
Thank
bro.
you.
Right on.
and I
man,
felt
thanks.
it when I came home. It helped me too. You
Thanks,
embraced the chill as fuck. The dude.
Embrace the chill in 2022. So, you know what? I hope that you dug that, everybody. I do. I
Yeah.
really do. I think one of the things that we kind of got away from as NSR is sharing our psychedelic experiences with you guys.
Well,
And-
we hadn't been having very many. And,
Yeah, that was-
sometimes when things happen, they are very private. And also, there's a number of reasons. But I think it's true that we do need to talk about it because they're important. They're important milestones of our life. And even what
I'm
happened?
hearing butthole surfers in my head. Sorry.
Why?
I
What?
normally
Right on,
formalized. Formally normalized.
Oh. Right on. Sorry.
They're important for sometimes just kind of crossing a plateau that you needed to, or, seeing things from another perspective.
Get
or
unstuck from being stuck.
getting, like you said, I didn't even realize it. I let that slip away. Same. I feel like I haven't realized I didn't, I let stuff slip away.
It wasn't even like that. It was more like, because it's such a part of who we are. It's all over our house, and our possessions are that, and you know what I mean? But like the feeling of the thing again. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah, it's in our DNA,
yeah.
but just because of that, it doesn't mean that it's prevalent all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and sharing that, especially when it's such a positive thing and everything. And I just want to say one more time, this is the part where I want to repeat that. First of all, I fucking remember a number, but like, call that tepid line and tell us a story.
New Year's story.
It can be whatever, like us, a rambling. We don't know what, like we say, we genuinely don't know what we're going to say most of the time until it happens.
Don't lie,
But
Apple. You're on 0.6 on the outline over there.
Oh, that's true. Oh.
We know we're going to talk about our guest.
971-808-1524 and talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple's right. Do it.
Make yourself a New Year's resolution that you'll keep by calling the tepid line. No, just kidding. Anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation with Karina, and I hope you got something from that. I know it started with a little bit of grandpa dad vibe. And
well, I think every, New Year should start with some kind of advice or some kind of strong voice or some kind of like.
There it is. That was me talking to the No Simple Road family. Straight shooting.
And I always think about this. Take what you like and leave the rest. If something really struck your heart, maybe you need to be a little bit more softer or pay attention or whatever. And if you were like, no, man, I'm really feeling good about my vibe this year. I was pretty sweet.
Then
like,
keep rocking it.
Yeah, keep rocking that shit.
Then you're already setting that example and tending your garden.
So don't get all like kind of like, he was like, everybody needs to hear something sometime.
And Aaron said it right there toward the end. He's like, the first person I'm pointing the finger at is me. That's why he's saying it, is because that's how you've been feeling.
I think a lot of times especially when I do lectures, it's literally a lecture for myself.
Every time. Every fucking time.
It's the best thing in the world, the way to like kind of yell at yourself in front of somebody, but you're really yelling at yourself.
Yeah, you kind of play it off like I wasn't talking about me, but yeah.
But we just love you all so much. And, when we go through stuff, a lot of times talking about it or talking to it will give us and you guys some kind of like
clarity.
Clarity and opportunity to, make it your own.
And hey, there's a bunch of shows coming up here in the Portland area in the next few months.
I'm going to Tool on Monday.
Yeah, Apple's going to Tool.
By the time you hear from us next week, I'll be giving a Tool report.
Oh, shit. And then
I'm excited about that.
We got Goose in beginning of February and Pigeons and Skull and Roses and Karina
playing with Pigeons.
So if you are in the Portland area, keep an eye on the No Simple Road schedule events on our website and make sure you come hang out with us at a show, man. We'd like to boogie with y'all and hang out and get to know everybody that's listening here in the Portland area and everywhere, actually. So, and Mel and I are going to MSG in April as long as the Knicks don't go to the playoffs. So go every other team.
Oh, are they going to get bumped if they go to the playoffs and it's bumped to a different time or something?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're rooting against the Knicks, man.
No matter what, we're going to New York in April.
Something's happening.
Yeah, just keep live music and sports and everything alive because we need it.
All right, you guys. We'll be back next week with some awesome stuff. I'm not sure what's coming out next week, so I can't tell you, but
always good stuff.
There will be more stuff and things. And remember, as we go into 2022, take care of each other and smile at a stranger and hydrate.
Be compassionate, communicate, be open, be a prankster, get your humor going.
Safety third.
And don't forget about the magic.
Wash your hands because those things go places that you would never go. And
sometimes you need to learn when to end, babe. But they would have been good with this magic.
Your hands.
Now you got hands, and that just doesn't even mean
We love
anything.
you guys. We'll see you soon.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hell means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a new born. So persistent, so resistant. shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A=A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Hey, what's up? This is Blake Weiland. I'm the host of the Tone Mob Podcast. It's a show where I interview guitar people about guitar stuff. We talk about their pedals, their amps, their accessories, their preferences, all that stuff, as well as a healthy dose of whatever comes up. Topics have ranged from aliens to addiction and anywhere in between. Oh yeah, and pizza. We're definitely going to be talking about pizza. So get the show wherever you're listening to this podcast at. Just search The Tone Mob in your search bar and it will pop right up. Come join us. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks for checking it out.